fucking carry Annie.
Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome, and happy Halloween. It's your boy, Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show we basically talk about all things going on in celebrity news, hot topics, pop culture, whatever's trending on these good old streets. We talk about it on this good old show. So, before we get started, can you do me a solid and hit that like button and that subscribe button? And also, if you are a first time watcher, please smash that notification button so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. And yeah, it's an early Halloween because if y'all been watching the show, you already know that tomorrow I'm gonna be pretty busy. So I had to do the Halloween Eve show. I got a costume and everything. This wasn't the whole thing. I went a little what do you call it? The purge with the mask and everything. And look, it even lights up. So during a certain part, it lights up and everything. The problem is it looked a hot mess with the green screen. So it wasn't gonna work and it was gonna fall apart. So I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna just give y'all serial killer slash somebody that just got off work doing a porno with this outfit, the lubrication expert in and out automotive, like the double entendres. You know, I have a twisted sense of humor. So if you could twist it with the sex and the double entendres with the costume, that's what I was pretty much going to give y'all. I know I told you guys that I was going to do like the just straight up Halloween, just like top 10 movies adapted from Stephen King novels and 100 best horror movies of all time. We're still gonna do those. I'm gonna push it to the end of the show, so that'll be its own little separate thing that everybody can chime in. But beforehand, there was so many juicy hot topics because we can't do a show without the hot topics and stuff. So I had to bring, get the juicy hot topics and all the other stuff to bring up in it, so that way people would be, because it's going to be, I was just like, I would probably be a little bored just going down this whole list of stuff because I was like, it's too much juicy gossip that came out today. So I was like, we need to go through those and then we'll get into the countdown and stuff of like for Halloween and things of that nature. So we have some stuff. We got the latest on we got some Trump stuff. We have some Disney news, Grammy news. There's some drama going on between Channing Tatum, Jenna Dewan, and Zoe Kravitz. That whole situation is a little messy. So we're gonna break that down. Keke Palmer is breaking her silence on the relationship she had with Darius Jackson. She apparently has a new book coming out, a memoir, which I'm like, girl, you're a little too young to be coming out with a memoir. But she's coming out with one. I believe it's her second one. So we have that. Plus, Diddy, Beyonce and Jay-Z's being dragged into this Diddy mess. We got to talk about Kanye West basically trying to take a page out of Taylor Swift handbook, hers and Travis Kelce. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, they're apparently, speaking of books, there's a One Direction book coming out from somebody who's on the inside who's about to spill some tea regarding some behind the scenes shenanigans, and even got Simon Cowell caught up in the mess, saying he ain't so damn innocent with all his thoughts and prayers stuff he been putting out. Plus, child, y'all remember Tiger King? Well, he's a mess because apparently he dumped his fiance for a jail Mexican gangbanger. I'm like, oh, they being messy over there in the prisons. And then I seen his man. I was like, oh, I could see why he dumped the ex for the new. That Mexican, no shame, but y'all got that good pussy. And then on top of that, we have the 100 best horror movies of all time and the top 10 movies. And my rundown, I should say, I was gonna say my rundown of the top 10 movies adapted from Stephen King novels. So we have all of that and a whole lot more. I have some comments. So I can't wait to drink MAGA tears. Well, you know what? I'm still sitting on pins and needles. Sailor Mermaid. That's why I said I was feeling like I was giving porn star tease when I came up with this outfit. I went to I was like, I went to like the big Halloween store that we have in the city. Surprisingly found a costume. But yeah, nevertheless, I found a costume chick. And I was like, "Ooh, let me put something on." Funny enough, one of my friends who's an adult film star, Caesar XS, said he got the same outfit. I was like, great of minds. Because this is like the porn star look, where they have like the what do you call it? The guy that works at the gas station. Oh, I need my tank filled. And not only does the gas tank get filled, So does the bussy. Apparently, they don't just fill tanks at the In and Out Automotive. But anyway, I was like, it's hard to multitask when you're trying to put a top on your drink and hold a mic at the same time. Because apparently people like when I hold the mic, but I actually think it's much better instead of just having it on the table. Because before, I don't know what the hell that noise was, but there was some weird buzzing noise that was going on in here, and I could not figure out what the hell it was. But ever since I've been holding this mic, that noise went away. And I can't wait till my damn new ring light comes. But anyway, instead of keeping up, so now let's get into the show. Without further ado, let's get into some Grammy news because word on the curb is Disney has snatched up the rights of the Grammys from CBS, and in I believe 2027, they will be airing the Grammys on ABC, and so you'll be able to see it on Hulu, you'll be able to see it on Disney Plus, all that good stuff. And so the Grammys been at CBS, and I did not know this because I just like, okay, it's been on CBS or whatever, or it's just been what it was, but it's been up there for like half a damn century. So 50 years it's been up on on the channel. So this is the annual Music Awards program, which has been shown on CBS since 1973, will move to Disney outlets starting in 2027. The company said it will simulcast the Kudos Fest across ABC, Hulu, and Disney Plus as part of a 10-year deal that will make it the home of the event through 2036 and will include a series of music specials produced by the Recording Academy, the backer of the spectacle. Well, y'all need something over there because quiet as it's kept, the American Music Awards ain't been given what needs to be given. And so they said the deal means Disney will have rights to show the Grammys, the Super Bowl, and the Oscars into. Wait, the Super Bowl on ABC too? Then what? I always thought the Super Bowl was on Fox or one of those channels. So they're saying that they got the Grammys, the Super Bowl, and the Oscars in 2027, a trifecta that will give the company new leeway to craft large ad packages with major sponsors. Disney just trying to buy every damn thing up. But meanwhile, y'all can't figure out how to get the goddamn MCU together and a damn Blade movie in theaters. So they say at the same time, award shows have lost, well, quiet as it's kept. They was going to say award shows have lost some of their luster in recent years. Celebrities are easier to see on social media, meaning that the appeal of gathering them on TV has dimmed because they can be spotted on Twitter, YouTube, or Instagram more readily. Nearly 40 million people watched the Grammys on CBS in 2013, but this year's event collected just 16.9 million viewers. Even so, the figure marked the jump from 34% from 2023's average of 12.4 million folks. But here's the thing. I think maybe the reason why people don't really take into when we were kids, well, I'll just say when I was a kid, it was like, we didn't have social media. So we had to use the only way we got to see celebrities was on award shows or if you watched them on talk shows and things of that nature if they were promoting their whatever film that they were doing. But when it comes down to like the awards and stuff back in the day, it was like, we liked it. And then at some point it got oversaturated. Like we had the Teen Choice, the Nickelodeon, they had the Blockbuster Awards at one point. Then they have then we had the MTV Movie Awards, but now they call it the MTV TV and Movie Awards. And so we've had so many different award shows that have been on. It was like 50 of them. And it's like, okay, now at this point, it's getting oversaturated. And I think people started to see through the BS that it was just more or less um, I just think that people just got oversaturated and people got bored with them. So now it's like y'all narrowed it down, which is good. Like, do we really need American Music Awards? Because then y'all have American Music Awards and you only give 3 people nominated, and then it's always the popularity contest. So I think people starting to see through that. People don't care about it as much. And with social media, celebrities pretty much can control the narrative. But at the same time, if you're trying to balance and figure out that old guard, which is you trying to win awards and things, I feel like the most important awards, to be honest, would be the Grammys, the Oscars, and if you're in the theater, the Tonys. But so maybe y'all need to focus on the major ones, and then maybe y'all need to have like a step up to the Grammys. So I don't know what that would be. That would I was gonna say maybe that would be the American Music Awards, but the American Music Awards is so damn corny. All they care about is like country music, pop music, And I can't even say rock music because what do y'all define as rock? Like to me, when I look at the VMAs, they've been so out of touch in regards of genres of music and what's popping for a long time. So it's like, what is that? Do people really care about these award shows? Like for me personally, I like the Grammys because the Grammys is like the Oscars for music. And then when it comes to the Oscars, I like the Oscars because it celebrates film. The only problem I have with a lot of these is that a lot of y'all have these sticks up your butt, you're a little too upper echelon, and then y'all try to gatekeep. So it doesn't really feel like anybody can have a shot at a Grammy. It's like you have to play some sort of game and you got to get real political in order to get in those rooms with those people. And I'm not saying like the most important thing that everybody should be worrying about is winning an award. But if you're going to spend all this money on these type of awards, you got to do something to bring the audience in. Otherwise, this is a whole lot of money that y'all spent for nothing. Because who is the demographic? Who's the generation that's going to be caring enough to wanting to watch these award shows? Like, y'all just going to put the pressure on Taylor Swift every damn year to drop an album just so that way y'all can get ratings? Because how is that going to work? So they said that live events have never been more important to our culture and industry, and we just acquired one, which they were talking about in reference to Taylor Swift's Eras tour. But here's the thing: yeah, the live events have never been more important, and that's because that's the only way artists can make money now. They don't make money from streaming. They don't really make money from physical media like they used to when I was a kid growing up. So I don't know how that would actually work for people to even care to want to watch all that. Unless y'all gonna try to create a whole new category. I mean, do they even have a category in the Grammys called Best Live Act? I mean, at some point, y'all might have to create that. I seen everybody was using Taylor Swift as like their cover. I was like, I'm gonna give Beyonce her flowers because we gonna have to talk about her later. So I was like, yeah, let's just talk about let me just use Beyonce picture. Well, in my opinion, I mean, not my opinion, it's a fact. I believe she's the one that has the most, she's like the top female with the most Grammys. So I have to say, congratulations to y'all over there at Disney, that y'all acquired this stuff. Good for you. But I hope it wasn't just, I hope it wasn't a big mistake that y'all jumped on this whole situation. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Are you excited to see that in 2027, the Grammys is going to be heading over to ABC? And my thing is, okay, so once it gets on ABC, what is the future of the Grammys going to look like? Because y'all can't keep the same thing going forever and expecting like those people to just come over there and watch it because the old guards are dying off and then the new generation's coming in. So y'all just got to reshape, I guess, or whatever. They'll figure it out. And then when it comes out on ABC, I'll watch and then I'll critique and then I'll say, I guess I'll give my overall opinion of what they could improve on and what they need to bring back. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, now speaking of comments, Robert says they don't like the Grammys because they know Taylor Swift is getting awarded every time. Someone said, call it the Taylor Swift Music Awards. The Academy loves her as the artist others want, vanilla and boring. I know when you put born, I know you meant boring. You said a Spice Girl fan said it best streaming killed the gatekeep and they hold the American music. Oh, and the hold of the American music industry. Yeah, and they're still trying to figure out how to make it work in this day and age. Well, that's your job. Y'all gonna have to figure that out. I'm not giving y'all no tips, especially if I ain't getting paid for it. All right, so let's talk about Trump and yesterday. Yes, well, actually, this whole week I was asking the question. So after the whole debacle that happened at Madison Square Garden, which no shade, I'm still processing and still remembering things and still, because a lot of times when it comes to us Virgos, it's like we witness things, we take it all in, and then we just dissect it, break it up, smash it, and then we glue it back together and we try to make sense of everything. So I'm still like processing little things and remembering little things because so much was going on that day that I'm literally started remembering things yesterday and even earlier today. So I did say, I was like, so what's going on with Nicky Jam? Because I was like, now after everything that was said at the, at the rally, or some people say clan meeting, I mean, go take it as you will, because it was just like a bunch of people up there spewing misinformation and hate and getting those people fired up just to get them to I don't know what they want them to do. Maybe they want them to suppress votes. They want them to burn that more mail-in ballots. I don't know, but this man is trying to. Them people over there trying to do whatever they can to just destroy this country. And like Bernie Sanders said, you may not agree with either one of them on their policies or whatever, but at least they're saying that basically the person that's worse is Donald Trump. And everybody pretty much knows this. And at least if there's things that's going on within the community, I know that we can get in that room and basically have the conversation with her and push for change. Now, regardless of this whole thing with Palestine and Gaza and the things with that, with the fact that our country is basically one big money laundering scheme where we have this deal with Israel where we just give them money to buy bombs from us to basically test them out. I was watching something with Amanda Seales. She was talking about that. So um we in bed with a lot of things. We doing a lot of crazy criminality situations. So if y'all think that the world is perfect, if y'all were to pull the wool off your eyes, you would gag at the things that we doing behind. Well, the colonizers and the people in power are doing behind the scenes to get their little money and doing all the little criminalities. Because if y'all think that little salary they make being politicians is getting them whatever they need to get, there's a lot of criminalities going on behind the scenes that y'all not even aware of. But y'all want to sit up out here and start talking about free Palestine and things and thinking that by suppressing your vote is going to help the situation. We got a lot of work to do in regards to that. And we got to hold people feet to the fire. At least we know that we can go in on Kamala and hold her feet to the fire if she don't do what needs to be done. The thing also that I take issue with her about is the fact that she's hobnobbing with a lot of these damn Republicans, the Dick Cheneys, the Liz Cheneys, those type of people, knowing full on well what Dick Cheney did during 9/11. So when all of that stuff, and I'm still pissed off about that because I lived in that time frame. So the brown nosing and the hobnobbing with the Republicans after some of the stuff that they did back in the day, I'm a little, turned up about it. But I understand sometimes you got to get your hands dirty in order for you to get to the bigger picture and get things done. You can't get things done standing outside screaming at the damn window. Sometimes you got to get in the room and then you can get the work done. But people want to sit out here, start screaming free this and do that, and then you wonder why nothing gets done. So there's a lot of things that needs to be done once we can get this clown out of office and hopefully in jail, but I doubt it. I believe his prison for the rest of his life will probably be Mar-a-Lago, but he could stay in Florida. Don't nobody want him going anywhere else. And then talking about the king of New York is back. I'm like, the king of New York, who's the king of New York? Because Trump was never the king. He may have been the court jester, but not the king. So after that little debacle that happened, remember a couple of weeks prior, Nicky Jam was out there looking like Boo the Fool, along with Anuel, who was out here talking about they voting for Trump. But then I was saying, like, after this whole situation happened, when I was breaking it all down and even giving you all my experience of what had transpired at the rally that I had to work, I pretty much was like, so where's Nicky Jam? Why he ain't said nothing? Where's Anuel? We still haven't heard from him. And all you other idiots out here tonight, you supporting Trump. Well, now Nicky Jam, before I even went live with this show, that's probably why I was like, okay, I got to push the show to 5:00 because apparently I was going to try to do 4:30, but then all these little stories was coming out. Thank you, Robert, to keep me busy because he was sending me stuff too. So I was like, I was in the midst of doing the Joe Exotic story, and then I got hit with the Nicky Jam story. So I'm like, Jesus, now I'm about ready to go live. Now I got to do this story and add it to the docket. So after all of that was said, what had happened was now he come out and spoke. He said something. He went on his Instagram and said a whole bunch of stuff in Espanol, but instead of because some of y'all probably be like, I don't know what he's saying. We just gonna go through the TMZ article since they were talking about it. So, Reggaeton star Nicky Jam walked back his previous endorsement for former President Trump. Thank you for saying former president, because what was blowing my mind was that all throughout the garden they had these banners up to my President Trump, President. He's like the former president. We got to start showing respect for the country and the government, which they clearly do not have respect for. If you are no longer an active politician in the White House, you are a former president. Remember, your number is 45, not 46. You're not 45 and the 46th president. And based on, hopefully, if the universe works out the way it will be, you won't be the 47th. So there's the singer who is of Dominican and Puerto Rican descent. Child, now you already know the tea about Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, that old wives' tale about how Dominicans and Puerto Ricans don't get along. Well, I guess his parents got along to fornicate and make him. So they say he is half Puerto Rican, half Dominican. He posted a video message to his followers on IG today, explaining why he originally supported 45's re-election bid and why he has since retracted his support. Now, as Jam shared in Spanish, he originally endorsed Trump's campaign as he thought the businessman will be a better candidate for the economy, especially for immigrants. He continued with this statement, which was translated in English. So it basically says, I did not think that a month later there would be this comedian who would speak badly of my country. For that reason, I renounced my endorsement of Trump. Jam is, of course, referencing comedian Tony Hinchcliffe's comments on Sundays from Sunday's rally at Madison Square Garden, where he called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Now, the remarks sparked quite a bit of controversy for Hinchcliffe and Trump, who was criticized for not outright condemning the racist rhetoric when he took to the stage of the rally. However, the Trump campaign later announced the joke does not reflect the views of President Trump, which is a bunch of B-damn-S, because here's the thing. Nicky Jam, you're an idiot. Number one, Trump didn't even know who the hell you was. He actually thought, because he said she's hot, he thought he was getting Nicki Minaj. He didn't think he was getting Nicky Jam. And quiet as it's kept, these crackers like Trump with that horrible ass bronzer don't know nothing about no Nicky Jam. They don't know nothing about no Anuel. They don't know nothing about no Karol G. They don't know nothing about no Bad Bunny. And quiet as it's kept, he probably think y'all all Mexican. And that's how a lot of them think. And this is why I'm going to keep reiterating this. I don't know why a lot of you people, blacks, Asians, anybody who is other than a white man, thinks that these people believe that, well, I voted for you. So he's not talking about me when he's referring to Mexicans and immigrants as the things that he said during his first campaign. And talking about shithole countries and things of that nature. And how this idiot didn't even know Puerto Rico is a part of the United States, as is Hawaii and Guam. So I don't understand, like, this moron doesn't know nothing. He wouldn't know his head from his own ass. And that's a wide ass. Especially when you can tell them old tight ass suits he be having on. So I hate when people just like, oh, well, I'm going to endorse somebody knowing full and well the danger they are, not really understanding their policies, but you only detract when it affects you. Oh, you talk shit about my country. So now I no longer support you because I have to stand in solidarity with my people. But you wasn't standing in solidarity a couple of weeks ago. Did you forget? Even though Mark Anthony and Jennifer Lopez and Sonny Hostin and so many other Puerto Ricans did not forget what happened during Hurricane Maria and Irma, and the fact of he basically blessed y'all with some goddamn paper towels. You could wipe that damn horrible ass spray tan off his face, but that paper towel, I would have threw that shit back. So I don't understand how y'all just completely oblivious to the things. And this is what irritates me, is because it's these people with money, these capitalists, that think by aligning themselves with a billionaire who's a damn fraud and was propped up by the marketing team from The Apprentice, this is what people think they're getting. They're thinking they're getting this reality TV star that was that was created by the marketing people behind the Celebrity Apprentice. Donald Trump was a joke in New York. Still is. And you know who also was a damn joke? Rudy Giuliani. Because if you lived under Rudy Giuliani's mayoral rule, we couldn't stand him. Especially not only when it came to the stop and frisk and how he treated people of color, because he is a damn racist, always was, but also the way he put a lot of my friends who worked in nightlife out of business. That's another reason why I didn't like Donald Trump. I mean, well, I don't like Donald Trump, but one of the reasons why I didn't like Rudy Giuliani, because the way he treated a lot of my friends who worked in nightlife. A lot of obviously my older friends. I was partying in the clubs. I wasn't able to work in the clubs. But so yeah, so there was that. But with this apology, it just feels like a bunch of bullshit. And you know what? At least with, I would have been more for him if he would have said, you know, I was wrong about a lot of the policies and things that the other, and I did a little research on some of the stuff and found out that he was full of shit. I can understand if you did the work in that department. He didn't do that. You're going based off of now. You're just basically part of the sheep. Like you're not even a leader. But then again, Nicky Jam, even though he's been making music for a long time, he's in his 40s. He washed up. Ain't nobody really checking for him like that. I can understand like if people be more disappointed if it was Daddy Yankee, because Daddy Yankee, quiet as his cat, was the bigger reggaeton star. But so in this whole thing, it's like, yeah, he didn't even know who you were, but you sitting there looking like the fool getting up there. And it's probably because they paid you a lot of money to get up there and endorse him, as if the money you making is not enough. But look, if you actually did the research, Trump has never been more clear about over the years, over his stance regarding helping immigrants or the lack of helping immigrants, and how he has always enforced this ideology that the immigrants are coming in and they're stealing. The border is wide open. Yeah, because you didn't want them to close the border because, the whole situation. It's already been explained with Kamala and Biden and all that stuff. I just don't understand how the Democrats don't just be fighting hard enough. I understand that sometimes the people outweigh in situations, but there got to be some kind of fight in y'all to fight back. I see the bit of the fight in the past couple of months that Kamala has been running, but sometimes, well, not sometimes, it's all the time. Whenever, that when they go low, we go high mess gets on my damn nerves. Where it's, oh no, we got to take the high note. No, because that old guard where y'all could just take the high note and be reasonable and rational, those days are over. This is a new day that we're in. And when you're dealing with maggots and you dealing with people like Trump and the people that he has put in positions and how they act, and they use the fear mongering and all these crazy tactics and coding and all stuff. Is it even coding? Because at this point, they don't even try to hide their racism no more. They use the goddamn bullhorn. And we saw at this point, that MAGA rally that they had at Madison Square Garden pretty much set everything in motion of letting you know this is how he feels. They took the training wheels right off. They didn't even put the brakes on at the train station. The train just plowed right through the station. They wasn't even trying to hide it. This is like all bets is off. Let's just go. This is go. Go, 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 go. And I think it's because, you know what? This is why I say thank you for going to MSG, because I feel like the whole energy around Madison Square Garden, like you haven't, and I've told y'all this when I talk about the artists that perform at Madison Square Garden, how grateful they are when they get to be like, they feel like they've made it, that I've actually made it because I'm performing at the world's most famous arena. So that was the energy that a lot of them walked in with, which is why they felt people like Tony Hinchcliffe, who recently, and I told y'all, he performed his Kill Tony podcast 3 nights at the Garden, sold out. But the jokes and everything weren't at the magnitude of what they did at this rally. I feel like he just played into that because of what this rally was and what the people at that rally represent. So that's why he went full in with, it wasn't even, the jokes wasn't even funny. It was just flat out xenophobic and racist and misogynistic and transphobic. Because there was some transphobic things that was said that night. They didn't say nothing about the gays, but they did mention a lot about the trans, and they said it quite a few times. But they were talking about they're going to keep men out of women's sports and things of that nature. And that is their direct words. And I cannot tell you how many men stood up in those seats clapping over that. Because I looked dead in their face when they was doing it. So this is what we're dealing with. So I understand people are feeling a way about Palestine and Kamala Harris and stuff. But here's the thing. We are not in a nation where y'all could just be a one-person voting type situation. We got a housing crisis. We got a homeless issue. We got wages that people are fighting to actually make a decent living. People should not have to work 3 or 4 jobs to try to pay their rent, and they still cannot pay their bills. That they're still struggling, that they're homeless. I'm working 3 jobs and I'm homeless. Like, where they do that at? Like, make that make sense. So this is where we are. So I don't know. I didn't want to get a little too political, but when we talking about this whole situation, I was gonna go down a rabbit hole. Nicky Jam, you still ain't shit though. So you can sit and apologize to the cows come home and talk about I'm retracting my endorsement. Okay, well then take your retraction and shove it up your ass because you're still canceled. In my opinion, it's just like these sellouts, these people that be willing to sell their own people and think that, oh well, they're not talking about me, they're talking about them. And I've said this many a times. These white folks, these racists, they don't know the difference between a Puerto Rican, a Dominican, an Ecuadorian, a Venezuelan, a Chilean, a Mexican. They think, quiet as it's kept, they think you're all Mexican. They think all Mexicans look alike. If you got any kind of a tan or any kind of Latino descendants or whatever, they think all of y'all will look alike. Same thing with black folks. If you got a dark, you dark. If you black, if you Haitian, if you Jamaican, if you Dominican, if you Brazilian, if you got a darker hue, you're black. And that's how they look at it. They're not compartmentalizing like a lot of us do. They're not looking at diasporas and all that other stuff. They don't know all of that. They don't, because they don't care. So I still just say, what do y'all think of this story? I'm looking at the comments. I see a lot of people got comments over here. So I'm going to get to those in a second. But for those who are not in the live chat, definitely leave your comments down below. Okay. Um, I was like, damn, I gotta really scroll up. I was like, oh, you said, I don't agree with Nikki Haley and Megan Kelly on everything. Yeah, I don't like Megan Kelly. I think she's an idiot. Nikki Haley is a flip-flopping liar. But because I was like, when she's flip-flopped and lied so damn much, it's hard for me to even trust people like that. So those two are dunces in my opinion. I said, so out of all the shit she said, Nicky Jam had no problem until it was his turn. This is why I hate people sometimes. The lack of empathy people have towards exactly. And that's why I was just saying you could take your apology and shove it up your behind. And I'm sure it's a nice ass if you took them pants off, but you can shove it up your ass because my thing is it's not genuine. You're only jumping on the bandwagon because it's the trendy thing to do at this point. But you were willing to sell your own people up the river until you endorsing Biden. And you're sitting here going to endorse Trump. I'm like, what is it about Donald Trump that you feel is going to move the needle in regards to the economy? He's gone bankrupt half a dozen times. He is a failure at a lot of the business deals that he has. He wasn't even doing real estate. He was renting his name out throughout New York City on those buildings. So if you actually took the time, and we have something called Google, so they can eliminate books and things. He didn't even write that Art of the Deal book. So if you actually took the time to do the research on these people before y'all start talking about voting, but but we know what it is. It's misogynoir, because everybody won't be fancy with that word. It's xenophobia. It's all these different things that y'all vote against. I don't understand people that vote against their own self-interest. I can understand the white folks that's going after that's really deep in the silo with Trump because they're afraid of seeing a world that's different than theirs, which is women having more power than men. That men aren't the alpha that they once were. That they're not the dominant. They're not at the top of the food chain. So women getting power and women voting against that. Because there were a lot of women at this damn event. Surprisingly, but not really. Then you got people of color voting against their own stuff because they want to be a part of that world. I'm sorry, you are not Ariel from The Little Mermaid. You will never be a part of that world. So, you can pander, you can coon, you can shuck and jive, you can do all the tap dancing till the feet get blisters. They will never accept you. They won't. And the sooner you learn that, the better. So they said now but when they're right, they're right. How the hell can MAGA get women voters at the Bro Fest at Madison Square Garden? Even Megan said, do they have any women in their campaign? The only the only ones I thought of, who was there? Laura Trump, what is it? Elise Stefani, whatever, how the fuck you say that damn, Stefanik, I think is how you say that stupid name. There was a couple women that got up there and spoke, but it's like, oh, and I didn't know that Laura Trump was what was she, like the what is he, the co-chair or something of the RNC? I'm like, the washing of the money in that whole thing. I see the grift, the grift between that family and the new Republican Party. So, um, yeah, I don't think they have any women, especially when we're talking about policy and who they're going to have in the cabinets and stuff. Who they plan on nominating? I'm surprised Marjorie Taylor Greene wasn't there to speak. That is why he did it, because he mentioned it. Like, he thanked the guy that owns Madison Square Garden. He thanked, he was so excited to be up in there. And there was even mention sometimes of some of the, like, Tucker Carlson and Vivek. They mentioned, like, oh yeah, this is a great arena, because I remember I was here when I saw this artist in this year, and I'm like, y'all aging yourselves. I think Tucker Carlson said that he saw the Grateful Dead up in there. I was like, okay, but you getting high along with them fans, because they do the blunts. They all be smoking up in there. I'm bracing myself for the Fitch concerts that's coming at the end of the year, because I know they be toking on them smokes up in there. Oh, excuse me. So that is why he did it. He was so excited to say that he actually played Madison Square Garden. And I feel like that's the overall ego of it. That when you get anybody, whether it's, and we've had political rallies and stuff there before, but not at this magnitude. That's why a lot of people like him did that, because they were excited to be a part of it, or to be up in Madison Square Garden and say that they played it. But guess what? I hope it was worth it, because the self-sabotage was imminent. But I guess when you are someone born of white privilege, you think that you could just say and do whatever and there's no consequence. The consequence will probably be, and it's funny how everybody else, they were talking, oh yeah, women have an opportunity of getting Kamala the win and all this other stuff. But it seemed like Puerto Ricans and everybody was going harder than anything. So which demographic is it? This is why I get irritated with these polls, because I feel like there's new polls coming out all the time, and I feel like these polls are just here to spook us. I didn't even because I'm like, nobody's ever called me. But then again, today I got a message from Kamala people talking about, we must win. Like, you got to help us win and all of this. I was like, how the hell they get my number? Anyway, yeah, exactly. It's all fun and games until it hits close to home. It's like, I'm not sorry, I'm looking. You say you looking. He was cute though. He an asshole though. I stopped liking him. So when he started going after Bad Bunny, I was like, when he started going after Bad Bunny and shit, I was like, I'm done with your bitch ass. Yeah, why is the white media avoiding the Mike Epstein story? This is why I be side eyeing, mainstream and white media and all this other stuff, because yeah, whenever there's stuff that comes out about Trump, they're real quiet, or anything associated with him, or anything to do with people in his inner circle, or whatever the case is. But when it comes down to Kamala Harris, she's got to do backflips, she's got to jump through hoops, she's got to tap dance and fire. She's got to do all the extra things. And this is what we've always said, there's an obvious imbalance. And I hate the fact that they don't want to address the elephant in the room, because it has been brought up. And I know that Kamala tries to be all diplomatic and be PC with her answer. But how do we heal the world if we can't openly talk about disenfranchisements and racism and the imbalance of power in America? That we got a black man president, and then we get a black woman president, which some people want to say that she ain't black, but it's like, you don't get to determine the level of what someone's race or ethnicity or ethnic background, whatever the hell you want to call it, is. That is not up to you. So they say annual wants to part. Wait, I was like, what did he do? Because I don't be paying attention to him like that, but he probably into some criminal shit. That's why I said the best thing Carol G did was leave his bitch ass. So I was like, Annuel wants a pardon. My question is Trump going to pardon you after you get him elected? I'm telling you the answer is no. He is not Wait, he's an in and out crypto. Oh, so he's in a crypto scandal. I didn't know that, but he got to do something because I don't think he would make it. His music career is not as popping as he expected it to be. Like he's known in certain circles, but his career is not that. He's no J Balvin. He's no Bad Bunny. Hell, he's no Wisin and Yandel. And he said, "Well, racism was targeted at me. I decided I should be on the right side of history. I smell them. Reggae comes from Jamaica, not Puerto Ricans. Well, we know this, but they use it's reggaeton, so it's basically we could basically well, it's a mixture of different genres and sounds and stuff. But reggae music, they use that, but they also incorporate all different styles of music, and they just sing over it in Spanish or rap and all this other stuff. But we know what reggae is. That's why I said reggaeton. And so they said, child, the Dems ain't gonna do shit because they're in bed quiet as a kid. I said, not to mention some were exposed as being racist themselves. Well, we know that they're racist in a lot of ways and things of that nature. That's why I said I'm side-eyeing Kamala that she is like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put when she said I'm gonna put a Republican in my cabinet, I'm like, bitch, if you lost your damn mind. But that's not what we need to be doing because it's like I wanna be able to. It's that reach across the aisle type of thing. Like we connected, we bringing people together. I'm going to be the bridge over troubled water. It's like says this is not a Sunday sermon, nor is it a hymn. This is like a lot of people's lives are at stake. Stop with the being the puppeteer, pulling the strings over America and playing with us. It's like at the end of the day, we don't really care about all this political stuff. People just want to be able to pay their bills, live their life comfortably, and not have to put up with the BS. You said to even joke that Travis Kelce is the next OJ Simpson. Yeah, he definitely said that. He said, look, he sat up there for like a half an hour telling tired ass jokes. So, but that's why I was like, I didn't hear the floating pile of garbage joke because around that point, um, I went to go get something to eat real quick. So I didn't get to see Tony's entire set. Because on Madison Square Garden, I was there literally since 10 in the morning. I think like 9:30, 10 o'clock is when I got there. No, I was there earlier than that. I was there since 8:30. What am I talking about? I was there since like 8:30, 9 o'clock, like around that time. Because I was like, I need to get in this building before, it gets crazy. So I left my house early because I don't know, the public transportation in New York is so unpredictable. I didn't know how it was going to be when I got to the city. Of course, I got off on 8th Avenue because 7th Avenue was closed off. You would have to go all the way around, and I was not trying to do that, especially not in Midtown. So I got off at 8th Avenue. I was like, let me go get some Starbucks. Yeah, y'all gonna have to kill me because I had to get me some Starbucks. That was the only thing that was in the area that I could get at the time to drink real quick. So that way I could go in and, do what I needed to do. And I know somebody's like, how dare you do Starbucks? You know what they're endorsing? I'm like, well, shit, I needed coffee. And that was the closest thing. There was no 7-Eleven in the area. And so, like people said, a political rally isn't for that. Well, yeah, it shouldn't be it shouldn't be comedians. That's why you ain't see. Well, maybe I'm wrong. If there was, let me know. But I don't agree. I mean, I don't believe that there was I don't think there was any comics that were at Kamala's rallies. She had a lot of singers. She had some, actors. I heard that when she makes her stop in Vegas, that Jennifer Lopez is going to come out on stage. So I wonder, and I saw that since then, John Leguizamo put out a video. There's been a lot of celebrities that have been speaking, and Rosie Perez has been very vocal about, and I love me some Rosie Perez. She's been very vocal about Trump too. Said Reggae is from Massachusetts, not Massachusetts. His father is Puerto Rican and mother is Dominican. Yeah, I said that he's half Puerto Rican, half Dominican. They don't want to lose twinks for Trump. Why? Because then they're going so that way they can fuck him behind the scenes. Which I told you there was some of them little twins. I was like, them young ones was cute. They were of age. I ain't looking at my children. I ain't going to jail. Yeah, there was this one that had a fat booty. I was like, oh, I would hate fuck him. That's usually what I would do if it was the Trump supporters or whatever, or like people like that. Those are like the ones you give hate fucks. And don't act like I'm the only one that be thinking that, or I just got the balls to say it out loud. But maybe I should have kept that to myself. But it's a happy Hollow Avalon. I really want Brian Murphy to make this. Well, you know what? They should do something like that. I don't even remember American Horror Story Cult. But then again, it's kind of like that's kind of like how I look at all of Ryan Murphy's projects. After I've seen it, I don't remember it. So yeah, maybe he need to make something like this and take inspiration from like political cults. And you could make it like a Donald Trumpian type figure who was the second coming of. Well, anyway, there's already been something like that about the devil running for president. The Omen. That's what Trump gives. As long as not even there from 2016. I remember the skit of in Splitting British Show. Yeah, there was something that, yeah, Radar Online did a story that came out that they were talking about how Ivanka has distanced herself from the Trump campaign. There was no mention of her. They had the family members. That Eric came out with Laura. Then they had the Booger Sugar Queen, Don Jr. spewing a whole bunch of damn lies talking about he built this city. I'm like, what from what? Rock and roll? You know that song. We built this city on rock and roll. I was like, built what city? Because we know Trump fat ass wasn't out there building shit. Y'all had them immigrants out there building it. And then somebody also said this. It was like, okay, so now if this man were to get in the office, right, and y'all deported every damn immigrant, and I don't give a damn if y'all feel offended by this, but here's the thing. Who's gonna build them? Who's gonna do the construction? Because a lot of you people out there don't want to be out there because it's hot. The Latinos will gladly get up out there and do the work. Like whenever I go to Home Depot for some stuff, there's a lot of them lining up outside trying to get picked to do a little work on somebody's house or whatever you need them for. Who's gonna clean them bathrooms? Who's gonna do the industry? Work in the food industry? Because a lot of y'all don't want to do that. Who's gonna do all the things? Who's gonna go out in them fields and pick them berries and vegetables and all them things that none of y'all want to do? So if they were all to be deported tomorrow, y'all would lose your damn mind because all them jobs that you talking about that's being taken away, y'all ain't gonna get out there and do them. Okay. So you said that Ivanka Trump was going for a night. She asked for a table. Paris said no. Beyonce table's full. Not a lot of tables full. She had to eat. Wait, what are we talking about? Yeah, we know you're talking about Nicky Jam. He said no longer a socialite and lost her Hollywood friends. They caught us. But why was she just hanging out with Kim Kardashian? Unless, because I saw like there was a picture of her and Kim Kardashian at some sort of event. But then again, Kim Kardashian, the trash she hangs out with. And they said they call us cell phones and I don't answer the phone. I text unless you're my grandpa or close friends. Well, here's the thing. I don't be picking up the phone either. Yeah, reggaeton is and reggae are two different genres. It's like they've taken a piece of another genre and they merged and they matched it with a different genre and called it. Child, we're not getting into a whole debate about reggae versus reggaeton. It's like, am I supposed to vote for Kamala because Barack is scolding black men? Hell no. Nobody said you had to. And I do feel like there was, on one hand, I don't, on one hand, I feel like you shouldn't have specified it just being about black men. That you should have gone after other men. You should have gone after white women. You should have gone after black white men. You should have gone after a bunch of different demographics. But when you have things like the shade room and the neighborhood talking, all them spewing their stupidity in the comments in regards of politics and spreading lies of vitriol in regarding to Kamala Harris or whatever, I could see where Barack Obama why he said what he said. So it's like what I say in certain situations. I understand like people always want to talk about, oh, you're generalizing, but I always say if it don't apply, let it fly. So if he's not talking about you specifically, I don't understand why people get offended. Just saying in general. So it said my ballot was accepted, so my vote will count on November 5th. I had a conversation. I don't know about those mail-in ballots. I don't trust them because look, we got people setting fire to ballots in Washington, D.C. They caught the idiot though, and he looked just like typical Trump supporter, like the stereotype. You know how you have certain people that you assume fit certain stereotypes. Like when you look at a child molester, you have this thought in your head of what you think a child molester would look like. But and then when you talk about a Trump supporter, what you would expect them to look like, this man looked every bit of what you would expect a Trump supporter to look like. So I don't understand if y'all are so confident in winning this election, why are y'all pulling so many stunts and shows, especially targeting people of color, black folks specifically, and trying to keep them from voting because y'all know how the game is played. Y'all know y'all can't win by y'all know y'all the only way you can win is by cheating. But in the words of Nene Leakes, who child, did y'all see her with her new nose? She out there walking around with Michael Jackson nose and all that extra contour on there. She said you can never win when you play dirty. He said, I was told George Lopez, and I'm like, I was told George Lopez, and I'm like, send me the receipts of him being at her rally. I'll call you a liar. I don't particularly care for George Lopez, but whatever. Don't let them deflate your temple. Not deflate, I mean, defile my temple. Colt was better than Roanoke. I could not. You want to know something? Even with Macaulay Culkin being in Roanoke, I did not finish that damn show. But then again, I can't remember the wait. I think the last time I finished a full season of American Horror Story was probably 1984, and that was only because Angelica Ross. So I think that's the only reason why. And then they had that whole slasher thing, and I was so invested. I wanted to see how this mess was going to end. But after that, I was like, I never fully invested. Roanoke, I probably watched 3 episodes, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to get canceled. But Kelly Osbourne asked, she did ask the right question, and I don't think you'll get canceled because I was watching a comment. Oh, I know what it was. What was I thinking? Oh, it was Funky Dineva having a conversation with Amanda Seales. And they brought up the Kelly Osbourne thing. But I've been saying this for the longest. I was like, maybe at the time, or maybe what it was because it was a white woman from a place of privilege making this comment. But I understood where she was coming from with it because she was right. And it shouldn't be looked at as, oh, well, you're being a racist or whatever. Because I feel like if I would have said the same thing Kelly Osbourne would have said, it would have went down a lot easier. Because when you're a man and a person of color, maybe it's better received from one of us versus a white person. So they didn't want to hear that from her at the time. But I don't feel like what she said was bad because she was right. Who's gonna clean the toilets? Because white people don't like a lot of people don't like cleaning their own damn toilet. They rather hire someone to do it. And if you're gonna hire somebody, you're gonna pick yourself a Jose, a Jorge, or a Maria. And this is not nobody being a stereotypical. We need to learn to have conversations without people being so quick to get mad and want to call you a racist and want to call you that. You have to understand the intent and when people say things or where they're coming from with that. Same thing with Tony Hinchcliffe. He was up in there saying that stupidness, them unfunny ass jokes. And he's like, well, y'all are too sensitive. Y'all can't take a joke. No, the jokes just weren't funny. And when you go around and you try to say racist, disgusting, disparaging things, which we people of color have heard our entire lives, and you try to cloak it as a joke, you know what the hell you doing. You know, if I bomb or whatever, I'm going to be like, oh, they're so sensitive. That's the thing y'all like to go with, and sensitive and woke and all this other stuff. I said, sir, first of all, y'all the ones been woke, to be quite honest. Y'all been the ones that, well, we've been, no, okay. We've been woke. Y'all the ones that been asleep is what I was trying to say. Y'all been asleep y'all entire lives because you never had to deal with a lot of the things. People nowadays, because there's social media and things of that nature, they're tired of the BS. They're tired of being bullied. They're tired of being called an other. They're tired of being disrespected because they're a woman or because they're a homosexual or because they're trans or because they're black or because they're Latino or because they're an immigrant. People are tired of having to put up with the bullshit, which is why people are speaking out more. And the people that are doing the bullying and are spewing the bullshit are gagging because people are fighting back towards the things that they've been able to get away with their entire life. So that's the way I see it. So when y'all talk about that woke, I know what the coding of that is. No, we've been awake. Y'all need to wake up and catch up. You saying Splitting Image made fun of Ivanka losing her friends because of her father, and that's what look, and that's why she was like, taking her daughter, um, to she took her to the Taylor Swift concert. So I'm like, is she trying to defy her father because you know by supporting Taylor Swift when her father openly said he hates her? And I'm like, first of all, how you hating somebody you don't know? Like you don't even know this girl, and you talking about you hate her, and then you want to compare Beyonce and all these celebrity endorsing Kamala Harris to a Diddy party. That's what they said. They said for MAGA media to think Biden garbage is going to hurt him. He's not running for president, and Kamala Harris is what she said. And there's another thing too. They were like, "Oh well, she ain't never built a house in her life." That I'm like, neither did Trump build a house. Like he worked in real estate. But what did you actually build? Oh, and another thing, I think people forget about this. We should have known Trump was a pile of garbage. Let's say back to 9/11, since Giuliani wide ass want to take credit for it. When 9/11 happened, I don't remember how many days, but they talked to Donald Trump on the phone. The footage is out there. Y'all can look it up. And this happened had the nerve to say that people went and said that I had the second largest building in New York City. Now that the Twin Towers are no longer, I now have the world's tallest building in New York City. So even back in 2001, this little dick motherfucker had the nerve to fix his mouth and say, be obsessed with size. He's been obsessed with size his whole damn life. So for you to even not even give a damn about the New Yorkers, because yeah, it was true. It's like that sense of unity that we had when 9/11 happened. I remember it to this day, that the overall unity that we had, that when I worked, I forget where I worked. I think I worked in like a hospital at the time. And I would talk to people and all this other stuff, and it would be like people who weren't even from the, New York and all this other stuff, how that sense of unity was coming out and how everybody kind of joined together as one. We weren't at odds, we weren't fighting. It was just this one big connection, human beings connecting with each other. And so for him to say stuff like that, like he don't even care about anybody. Like, so if he didn't care about the people that died in 9/11, 2001, you think he care about y'all in 2024? You said the only thing you could think about was talking about how you got the tallest building in New York. Like, are you kidding me with that shit? And I said I had a mail-in ballot done and ready to be turned in, but got nervous to turn it in. The next day, these videos came out. Oh, so maybe it's a good. I don't know. This is why I was like, early voting. I would rather just do the early voting where it's just like I could just show up to the place and vote rather than mail it in. But for me, I'm just gonna go on November 5th and I'm just gonna vote. It said MAGA ain't for homosexuals. No, they're not. But behind the scenes they do homosexual things. But y'all ain't here for the gays. Make that make sense. That I don't get. Like y'all don't like us, but y'all be doing some of that stuff behind the scene. Y'all don't like drugs, but you do the drugs. You don't like sexual things with people, but y'all be doing freaky as shit. Because I trust and believe, I'm sure there was a lot of homosexuals. That's why I was saying before, I was like, damn, I wanted to open up my grinder so bad when I was in the garden, but I was advised by one of the managers. She was like, for the love of God, I know I ask y'all this all the time, but for the love of God, today, do not open up your phones, do not record, do not do anything. Because if somebody sees something, even if you don't agree politically, whatever the case is, it may start a situation. And so I was abiding, but don't trust and believe. I was on my phone. Like I was looking at stuff, but I wasn't like typing things. Every now and again I was sneaking, I would write a little something, something. Giving like my closer friends or whatever, like a little insight of what's going on and stuff. But for the most part, I was like, I stayed off my phone. Like I would go and look on it between breaks and stuff. But anything I was going on, I was like, yeah, I was real careful with that because I was like, y'all not gonna sit up in here and say, oh, I typed something and I wrote something, and you happen to be looking over my shoulder, and I say something and I'm just saying this just as an example. Like if I texted someone, these people are dumb as fuck. And somebody sees it, and then they're like, go and complain to management. And then it's a whole shit show, and they're like, well, we can't save you. Now we gotta fire you. And then I gotta get the union and everybody involved, and it's a whole dramatic situation. And so I was like, you know what? Instead of just getting caught up in that matrix, I'm just going not get on the phone. I said, I got a podcast, so I can come on here and just tell y'all what went down. So that's the way I felt about it. What was I? Did I take that out? Oh, there's more. I was about to move on, but I was like, wait a minute. You said I'm going to vote early tomorrow morning in person as soon as the poll opens. Well, I'm proud that you are, because everybody should vote, even if you don't, just pay attention to the people you voting for. But it's like, yeah, once we get Trump, and it's another thing too, I was wondering, because I want to speak it into existence. When Trump loses, what happens to MAGA? What does the future of MAGA look like? Like, I feel like with the Democrats, yeah, everybody's getting excited and hyped up and stuff, but Democrats need to change some things too. They need to evolve and change and really be for the people and a whole bunch of other stuff. So they got their things they got to work on. But in regards to the maggots, what's going to happen with y'all? What does the future of the MAGA look like? And then the Republicans, since they don't want to associate, the old guard Republicans don't want to associate themselves with the maggots, what do they plan on doing in regards of revolution and rejudging, remixing, rebooting? I was trying to think of the damn word. The rebooting the Republican Party, because y'all not the party of the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the Lauren Boeberts and all them other morons and the Tucker Carlson and all these other morons. So what does that look like? We said the axe forgets, the tree remembers. Yes, it does. Come on, deepness. Milo isn't even campaigning, but a former gay alleged child. He need to go jump off a cliff. And you said my ballot was rejected, so I had to do it online. I kind of wish they would do online ones, but then again, with the internet and all the other stuff, I wouldn't trust it. The future of MAGA is probably JD Vance. Well, I believe that is the direction they're trying to go into with him. That they want to do, they want to use JD Vance as being the future of MAGA. So we need to welcome progressives and embrace them. Oh no, I definitely embrace progressives. I definitely want progressives in politics. The problem is neither side wants them. Democrats don't want progressive Democrats in there. But we definitely need progressive politicians. This whole moderate stuff is like, who's moderate in this day and age? Let classic conservatives and classic liberals create neoliberals. Neoliberalists. We need to do more. That'll be my drag name, neoliberalis. We need to do more than two parties. I've been saying that. And look, people want a more than two party system. I got friends that windmill hard for Jill Stein. And I'm like, child, this ain't the time or the place. She ain't getting in there this time. But I do hope, and within my lifetime, or maybe in the lifetime after, that eventually we will open it up to more than a two party system. Because, yeah, this two party system situation is not working. But anyway, let's move on, because we only did two topics. We only an hour into the show. But look, whenever it comes to politics, I realize that a lot of people have a lot to say. And I feel like within the next couple of days, politics is something that is deeply important. And I'm glad that we have people in here that want to talk about it. And so, yeah, sometimes that's going, for those who only want to come for the celebrity news and gossip, sometimes the politics takes over. And I love the fact that we have a lot of highly intelligent people that are watching the show that have like things that they want to say and chime in. And even if I don't know certain things, the fact that y'all could let me know some stuff, because I don't be trying to act like I know everything. I try to watch as many political things as possible, but I can't, do everything and be everywhere and take and absorb everything, as I would say. All right, so now let's get into some mess, yeah. So Jenna Dewan, Fiancé, is out here being a little petty LaBelle, because yesterday it was announced that after 3 years of being in a relationship, Channing Tatum and Zoe Kravitz have called off their engagement. So leave it up to Jenna Dewan's fiance, and Jenna Dewan is actually the ex-wife of Channing Tatum. I think they just finalized their divorce maybe last month. I think like late September, early October, something or another. I don't remember, but yeah, it was some time that it was recent. We'll just say that. So The fiance felt the need to assert himself into the conversation in regards of their splitation. So now gather around because things have pivoted to a level of messy, which is truly unprecedented. Mere hours after news broke that Channing Tatum and Zoe Kravitz have called off their engagement, Jenna Dewan's fiance, Steve Kazee, hopped on Instagram to throw some Venetian blind shade at the demise of their relationship. So now, shortly after people confirmed the former couple split on Tuesday, October 29th, the Broadway veteran, who was 49, posted a lengthy, repetitive string of ha ha on his Instagram stories. Because that can disappear in 24 hours and then we good. So yeah, that's his response. Now, that takes a lot of work and a lot of pettiness to even create something like that. And somebody was paying attention that they screenshot it and posted it on social media. Now, they also said that reps for Kazee, who was engaged to Tatum's ex-wife, Jenna Dewan, did not immediately respond to people's requests for comment. And multiple sources confirmed to people on Tuesday that Kravitz, who was 35, and Tatum, who was 44, have called up their engagement after being together for 3 years. The first two became an item working together on Kravitz's feature directorial debut, Blink Twice, which I actually told y'all that wasn't even the original name of the movie. But anyway. So Channing Tatum starred in that movie. Now, they said they first sparked romance rumors when they were photographed riding through the streets of New York City on a BMX bike in August of 2021. Now, a month later, they were spotted leaving the Met Gala together before Tatum made their relationship Instagram official on Halloween, sharing a snap of him and Kravitz rocking a couple's costume from Martin Scorsese's classic 1976 film Taxi Driver. Now, people confirmed that the two had gotten engaged in October of 2023 after 2 years of dating. Now, over the weekend, they were photographed leaving a Halloween party, and Kravitz, dressed as Rosemary Woodhouse, Rosemary's Baby, seemingly showed off her new engagement ring in the snaps. So, yeah, there's that. So, and then, okay, so it was last month because now it says in the article that Tatum and Dewan, who are both the same age, reached a settlement to finalize their divorce last month. And this was 6 years after their breakup. So they broke up in 2018, but they were not able to get a divorce until 6 years later. I just hope that this don't end up like Hannaford and Ben Affleck don't end up in the same situation where they're going to be fighting and trying to figure out a time to end their divorce. But I think that stemmed from Jenna was trying to get money out of Channing Tatum because there was a story or whatever that when they were together, he had developed Magic Mike and all the other stuff, and she felt that she was entitled to some of that Magic Mike money. So they were going back and forth in court. I don't remember what the verdict was. I may have to Google schmoogle, but at another time, or maybe I just don't care enough to Google schmoogle. But I was like, he looked better there than with the long hair. I mean, the long hair looks all right, but look, he looks good there. But she does have kids with him, though. She has 2 children. She has Callum and Rhiannon. Rhiannon is 4 months. Callum is 4. And then Jenna has a daughter named Everly, who's 11 years old. So there's 3 kids that she has in total, but 1 with Channing and 2 with Steve. But here's the thing. What's taking y'all so long to get married? And not only that, but here's the thing. This is why I always say, whatever is going on between previous couples, new person, you need to mind the business that pays you. That was like when we had, who was it that we had, that they said something or other that there was some drama that was, it was Brad Pitt's new girlfriend. There was a story that came out about her, how she wanted to sit and have a conversation with Angelina Jolie in regards of whatever the issue is that's going on with the winery. I was like, sis, mind your business. Get up there, you spread your legs for your man, let him clap them cheeks, and y'all have your little relationship and do all those stuff. But all the personal business situations, mind the business that pays you. And Steve, this is the same tea I'm going to give you. You need to mind the business that pays you. You should not be up in here cackling at the demise of someone else's relationship. Because quiet as it's kept, you and Jenna have not walked your behinds down the aisle yet. So I don't know how you sit up in here cackling at somebody's relationship falling apart when you haven't even said I do to Jenna. But I guess now, because I was going to say, what's taking you so long? She was still married to Channing Tatum. But now that the dust is cleared a little bit because they've been divorced for about a month, or a little over a month. Now y'all gonna sit and plan accordingly and get your relationship together, but you better hope and pray that that relationship lasts, and that way you don't end up in a situation similar to Zoe and Channing. And I remember some of y'all in the comments about Channing need to come out the closet. If only. But if he was to come out the closet, he could definitely sit on my face. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Do y'all think that, yeah, when the new person comes into a relationship, whatever drama is going on with the past, and I understand you want to be a cheerleader and go hard for the person you in a relationship with because you understand what's going on in regards of like the pettiness, behind the scenes drama, whatever it is that's going on. But I be feeling like unless it pertains to spilling over into anything that got to do with me, I'm gonna let my significant other handle whatever drama they have with their with their past situation, deal with that. Now, if he get up in her face and threatens to, fight her or whatever the case is, I'm gonna jump in and nut with you, but for the most part, when it comes to stuff like this, I would not be going on social media being petty at the expense of someone else's relationship because things based off of who knows Jenna being in his ear and telling him things about Channing, and or as they call him Chan, when they talk about whatever's going on between them, and then he's taking all that in and now he's hot and he's ready to fight based off of what his girl is telling him, and then it's a whole situation. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. You said so much gay sex, pussy trafficking, bitch. First of all, how you out here spilling tea on what goes on in Jackson Heights? John, we know. Oh, I already heard the tea about the prostitute. They be out there carrying. That kind of makes me wonder: is it a whole? Do you think that out there it's a big cesspool of sex trafficking going on in Jackson Heights? Because I remember when I used to work the streets out there, and as in work the streets back in the day when I was younger, what I used to do was I used to do a lot of outreach. So I worked at a place called ACQC, which is the AIDS Center for Queens County. And I used to actually do a lot of community outreach and stuff with them. So I would go to a lot of the nightclubs. I was giving out condoms, doing the whole sex education thing. And yes, mother has lived. I've done a lot of things to get some coins. I've hustled hard. And so, and I would see a lot of the hookers and, trans prostitutes and the gays and all the other stuff out there. So I'm like, child, maybe I need to start hanging out a lot more on Roosevelt Avenue. Because here's the thing, when I be in Jackson Heights, my grinder definitely do be going off. It's no shade, but it does. I said, why do I think in a few days Trump will have his own huge scandal like Hillary emails? Well, I hope he does, but to me, I feel like, oh, he's gonna have this big scandal. It's gonna be the typical white man gets away with another scandal, because they were bringing all that up to, oh, they tried to take him down for this and they tried to take him down for that, and they did mention when they get in office they're going to fire Letitia James, and they also made that joke about how, oh, well, we can't wait to say, Kamala, you're fired. Yeah, a lot of times they did say her name correctly, so they do on purpose say her name incorrectly. And it said all the TV commercials I saw an hour ago were political ads for pres governor. Oh yeah, I've been saying, child, if I put on the regular TV, I get the same thing, literally back to back to back to back, back to back to back to back to you. Shout out to Charlie XCX. It was like back to back. What you have is, you get a multitude of commercials. And it's not even just Kamala Harris, Donald Trump. It's literally like the smaller politicians who, if you go down the ballot, you're not just voting for Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. You're voting for a lot of people that are on the Democratic side and the Republican side. So yeah, there's that with both sides. And so it said that Jenna was trying to force Shannon to move to New York. Shannon was like, my personal life is here, my work is here. Why should I move? Why can't he stay here and do Broadway? Yeah. Yeah, everything is not for everybody. Like, does she live? Oh, I was gonna say, does she live in New York? Yeah, I guess she does, because they said that the guy is a Broadway veteran. So New York is different, and it's like, you know what? That's like with me when I lived in LA. I realized I'm New York through and through. Like I tried to tolerate being out there. First of all, it's too slow paced. The only thing I liked about LA was the weather. That's the only thing. The men were too damn pretentious. The people in general, well, not all of them, but I realized that the people that probably feel the way that I do were New York imprints that moved to LA and have that kind of feeling. I couldn't deal with the fake and the phoniness and just people not being upfront and direct, which is usually what we get in New York. So there was a lot of things that I was just like, and this is pre-pandemic. I was like, no, I wasn't feeling it. So I could definitely see like, yeah, he's a Cali boy, and not everybody wants to live in the concrete jungle. So if he doesn't like New York, he doesn't have to like New York. If he only wants to come here to work, then let him work. All right, so now let's move on. Let's go from one messy relationship to another. So Keke Palmer is opening up about her unhealthy relationship with Darius Jackson because apparently she has and this is in People magazine. She did the cover story and she also has a new memoir coming out. I'm like, this is her second memoir and she's only like, what, 31? I'm like, girl, have you lived? Well, I guess if you're in Hollywood, they don't live like how we live. So they're gonna come out and have like they basically is like I guess 31 to us would be 61 to somebody that works in Hollywood. So here's what she said. So Keke Palmer basically opened about her unhealthy relationship with her son's father, Darius, and saying that the hardest thing she's ever had to go through. Now at 31, Keke is already on her second book about her life, and rightly so. Now that the lady has a story to tell, she says, of herself in a campy retro broadcast voice while all decked out in old Hollywood glamour. And for her people cover shoot at her LA home, she's joking, but it's true. The the award winning actress, singer, and media power player has lived a life that belies her years and one that has brought her to her knees many times over. That's always been the thing with me. I'm in a mature scenario, having these older experiences in a workplace and with my sense of purpose. But then again, I'm just a regular 31-year-old with all of my immaturities. I could definitely understand that. It's a paradox that the former child star grapples with in her new book, Master of Me: The Secret to Controlling Your Narrative, out November 19th, and one that already came to a head in a very public and painful way. Now, last year, a few months after the Nope star welcomed son Leo, with then boyfriend Darius Jackson, who's 30, their seemingly happy relationship imploded after Jackson's social media post criticized a dress she wore to an Usher concert, kicked off a viral firestorm. Then came allegations of DV and a custody battle. And yeah, even back then, we saw the signs when he was basically up in there on when he went on social media and started degrading her and talking, getting very misogynistic with the things that he was saying in regards of their relationship. And it's like, who are you to even be talking to a woman like that and telling her that, basically calling her a whore and a prostitute? And it's like, that's the mother of your child. And if she want to go to an Usher concert and feel her oats, it's not like Usher's trying to sleep with her. He is basically, you know, a guy who does that whole romantic serenading the woman and all that other stuff. Like he's the playboy type, the charmer, the man's man. Well, not man's man, but he's the one that's just going like charm the panties off the women, as like the old school thing they would do with a lot of veteran R&B acts or whatever the case is. And that's what Usher is. He gets the women hot and bothered, and it ain't like he can go actually go backstage and slob his knob. He's in a relationship. He's got kids. He's got all these things going on. But here go Darius with his insecurities. So she said, in all, it was the hardest thing I ever had to go through. This is what she wrote in the book. Now, after settling the disputes and reaching a good place with her ex, she said she's finally ready to reflect, which is basically explains why a lot of times when we saw them recently, I think she had a birthday party last month and Darius was there. And people was like, oh, and I was one of them included in it. So I'm not going to sit up here and act like I wasn't, getting going in and letting have either. So she went and said, I went and said that I hope she's not trying to get back together with him. I hope that this is just, you being cordial for the sake of the kid, which to me, I love that sense of maturity that people's like, you know what, we ain't ever, 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 in the words of Taylor Swift, getting back together. But, and then, in that situation, we have to learn to be respectful and cordial towards one another for the sake of the child. We don't need to be fighting in front of the kid. We don't need to be doing no dramatic stuff. It's just like, we do what we got to do to help the kid for the sake of our son, Leo. Put on a united front, something that Halle Berry been having a hard time doing with Olivier petty ass. So I'm glad that Keke can get into that situation and be mature on it. So yeah, there's her book cover, which I'm living for it. It looks very much 3D. So now thinking back to when the relationship first started out, it was like, not only is this the person, but this is the time. It felt very spiritual for Darius and I. Oh, that's right. Okay, Dr. Seuss. We had separate lonelinesses, and we created a space for us to exist in that loneliness together. And then we wanted to have a son. Leo was very planned. The pair appeared every bit the happy couple throughout her pregnancy and just after Leo was born in February of 2023. But behind the scenes, there was a lot going on, she says, even before Jackson took to social media with a gripe that July. Well, we already knew that. We knew that wasn't the first time he popped off. That was the first time he popped off in public, but we could definitely tell from those of us who are aware and know the signs of some type of domestic situation, that couldn't have been him the first time. It's just that he was at his wit's end, I guess, and just wanted to go share his gripes on social media. So yeah, he went and said, "It's the outfit though, you a mom." He wrote in response to a video showing Palmer wearing a sheer dress as she danced with Usher at his concert. Fans immediately came to her defense online, but Palmer writes that the relationship had already grown unhappy and unhealthy. And that's why I said that he was at his wit's end. It has also become violent. Now, in her request for a temporary restraining order granted by a court that November, she detailed multiple allegations of DV, including when she says Jackson broke into her home and attempted to strangle her, an incident caught on video. She responded in court to his own accusations and alleged violence, that she abused him as they clashed over the custody of Leo. It got so out of control, she says. The only way I knew how to bring order was through the court. As for what initially went wrong between them, she said having a baby was a big stressor. Well, we could have said that. That yeah, babies, it's a lot. It's no longer about you. You gotta, everything has to be given to the kid. And not only that, but it's also fame. So you got the romantic relationship. She's got to have time with her family and friends. She's always got to, and then she's got, you got to raise the baby. You got the career, all the other stuff. And now looking at him, because what does Darius do? He feeling a kind of way. Because if you look at it, like when we were talking about with Mariah and Nick Cannon, that alpha situation, she is the alpha female. He is Nick Cannon, basically, in regards of you carrying the baby diaper and the baby bag, and you having to go do all the Mr. Mom stuff. So she also said, not just with my romantic relationships, but with family and friends. It's always become a burden. Too many voices get in. It can make everyone else not trust you. It's hard to explain. And yeah, when when people give you advice and you want to listen to the people that you could trust, but a lot of times they're not going to say, you're not going to listen because you got those blinders on. You're like, oh, y'all think y'all know every damn thing. Let me figure my own thing out. My situation is not similar to yours. And it's like, yeah, it is. The signs are there. The breadcrumbs are there. But a lot of times, we could be a little hard-headed. And sometimes the only way you're going to learn is to go through it. So they said 6 months later, after court-ordered mediation, Palmer and Jackson settled amicably on a joint custody agreement. Looking back on the relationship, she writes, I wish I could say he was terrible the entire time or that I was, but it wasn't that black and white, and that was the problem. I didn't want my son to think his father is a monster because I don't. Her advice to anyone dealing with a similar situation, walking away is the only way. Now, these days, she found forgiveness and peace. In fact, she says, I'm so proud of him and happy for him. And just so you know, to know what Darius is up to, he's in the military. So she said, I feel very at ease now knowing things are under control. Well, Chad, you better hope he don't get no limbs blown off. But that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. So I like the fact that, you know what, that he found a way to get his stuff together because clearly the acting career in Hollywood wasn't an option. So it's like, yeah, I'm going to just join the military. I'm going to do something with that. Yeah, you need to channel some of that old bro energy into the military. So that was smart on your end for you to be doing that. And I'm glad that, you know what, because, you know, the one thing about us Virgos, like we will sit up in here and we will process and assess and take it apart and put it back together and really come to the conclusion. And she came to her revelation. So definitely, I feel like this is a perfect book for a lot of people to get. And I'm sure she'll be on the talk show circuit very soon promoting it. The View, Sherry Shepherd, and all those shows. And I'm sure a couple of podcasts. So if you are interested, excuse me, in picking up Master of Me, The Secret of Controlling Your Narrative, it hits stores on November 19th and it is available for pre-order wherever books are sold. I felt like being like Whoopi Goldberg. Oh, hit the QR code, so you go pre-order the book. You know how they be doing on these shows, but we ain't that fancy over here. I would have to figure that out. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? I would say like I'm glad that we finally have a little closure in regards of Keke Palmer really saying what she needed to say about her relationship. Like she don't owe us anything. But since you already invited us into the group chat when the first situation happened, or maybe it was Darius that did at first by making the comment, that was the catalyst. That was the straw that broke the camel's back to get us in there. And then it just concluded since then and all that good stuff. So with that being said, I'm glad that she finally came to a conclusion. It's like, you know what? I'm at ease. He's in the military. He's getting himself together. I've got myself together. I've come to my revelation. It's just about what's best for Leo at this point. And I was able to have this cathartic moment. And now I've channeled it all in this book. So, whatever your thoughts are on this situation, let me know in the comments down below. He said Kamala Harris could win men. Reading an article, the abortion issue, men disagree with abortion, saying, just let me be a dad, even if you don't want the kid. Well, it's not only that, it's the fact that you have to realize that in certain places where people are suffering under the regime of what Trump did regarding abortion, banning it, there are people that if the baby dies in utero and you got to worry about getting sepsis and all that other mess, that I'm bleeding, your girl's bleeding all over the floor. She needs help, but based off of where you live, you have to worry about going to the hospital. You've got this fetus inside of you, and now the doctors are like, we can't operate, we can't help you, we can't give you the pill, we can't give you anything where you could just flush it out or whatever the case is. We can't give you the things that you need to help you with this situation because of the current laws in place. If I help you, I could possibly lose my license and go to prison because of these things that are put in place. So people need to realize that that's what it is. So y'all thinking that you're hurting women, you're hurting the men too. There are men out here who genuinely care about being a dad and wanting children, and when things like this happen because of because of nature taking its course or whatever, and then women miscarry, whatever the case is, you have to think about those things. But a lot of these people aren't thinking about the men. They're thinking, oh, well, I've got my kids, so it doesn't affect me, but I'm going to put these laws in place because you're pandering, I guess, to these religious zealots who, y'all love them when they bring the baby, to term. But what about once the baby's here? Are you going to take care of it? Are you going to feed it? Are you going to clothe it? Are you going to bathe it? Are you going to do all those things? You're not. So stop. So get out of women's uteruses is all I got to say. And people in the judicial system should not have any kind of say so over anything medicinal because you don't have a medical degree. You don't understand anything about the medical industry. So that's another thing I don't understand either. Why do we have people who are about law making decisions over people's bodies? You know nothing about anatomy. They said, oh, she should have never got with that man for a Virgo. That wasn't. Well, look, we don't always make the right decisions. Sometimes we think, well, what's between me down there instead of thinking with this head. I know I do. There's been many times I've been with people. I was like, what the hell was I thinking? The sex was good. They had that good coochie. So that's what that's that's what that stemmed from. He said it's really sad to see her, Halle Bailey, and Halle Berry, all them. Child, I just saw that story that came out. Sky Jackson pregnant. I'm like, what the hell? Her, Halle Bailey, and now allegedly Sky Jackson, who are of high caliber, went to settle and procreate with Dusties. Well, you said meme is a man. Wait, who we talking about? Willis. But yeah, I do agree with that. It's like, what are y'all girls doing? Y'all just throwing y'all lives away for what? For why? Not even for what? For why? But anyway, now let's go into another messy topic. Let's talk about this foolishness. You want to know something? I'm so mad at myself. I forgot to bring up that. Wait, hold on, because I'm gonna bring that up now. Because I was gonna bring up the Beyonce thing, which we are. I totally forgot to bring. Wait, did I bring it up? No, I did not. Because I'm sitting there like, why didn't I bring up the Ray J story? That story was juicy. The fact with when you had Ray J. Hold on, because I'm gonna add those to the docket. We still gonna do the show? I'm doing this in actual real time. Wait, hold on. Let me take this out because we ain't gonna get to that yet. Because I was like, wait a minute, that story that came out with Ray J and Diddy's son's trying to fight him. That was a cackle. I'm like, these little corny ass kids. So you had them trying to fight him and Chris Brown jumping in to stop the fight. I'm like, where they do that at? But anyway, I was like, where's that at? Oh, I do have it. But give me a second while I add that to the thing because I need to we still gonna wait, and I'm gonna move the Beyonce one, so we're gonna get to that one in a second. I just have to edit some of this in post because y'all might not have heard all the story on this. And then there was a video that I saw that came out that said that Diddy allegedly punched CJ Wallace, as in Christopher Wallace's son. I saw that video. Okay, so now we got it. So let's get into it, shit. Why am I laughing? Oh wait, let me close Keke because we just finished, huh? Okay, so now yeah, this is a story that came out. When I read this, I was like, am I in the Twilight Zone? Because this cannot be the tea that's going on right now. But apparently, yes. So apparently, Ray J was at a Halloween party. And I said, this is perfect to bring this up because it was at a Halloween party. And you know, this is the Halloween episode. I got my Halloween costume on. We got the green, we got the Halloween background going on. So why not? Add it to the docket. But I think I was rushing, so I forgot to add it. So, you know, I work quick. So basically said that Diddy's three adult sons nearly brawled with family friend Ray J at a Halloween party over the weekend, only for Chris Brown to break up the would-be altercation. So the Bad Boy Records founder's three sons. First of all, he only has two. Quincy Brown is not his son. I understand that he accepted him because of Kim Porter and all that other stuff and whatever issues he got with Albie Shore, but his father is Albie Shore, so we're not going to sit up here and just continue to call it as Diddy's three sons. But I feel like a lot of y'all are these three sons are delusional in their behavior as of late. But let me tell y'all the story. So it said the Bad Boys found his three sons, Quincy Brown, 33, Justin Combs, 30, and Christian Combs, 26, got into a heated altercation with the former Moesha actor, not Moesha, outside Unruly Agency CEO Tara Electra's Halloween bash on Saturday. The source, according to the source, they said at the party, which was filled with celebrities, was a fun environment. However, things took a turn after the festivities ended when Ray, born, child, we don't need to go into his name. We know his name is Willie Norwood Jr., went to the parking lot with Amber Rose and his manager, David Weintraub. According to the source, they claim that Combs' men surrounded the singer because they were upset about Ray J's recent comments about their father, basically saying that asses were taken. That's basically what Ray J said in a recent interview. He went around saying that asses definitely were taken, that I guess he know where the bodies is buried, that Diddy, yes, all them things y'all heard about him taking people, but, he did say back in the day, take that, take that. So clearly he was out here taking it, or they was taking it. And so they was mad at him over what he said. But then he was having a conversation. This is how I found out. He was having a conversation with Whack 100, and Whack 100 recorded the conversation and posted it. Talking about it's going out. I don't know if it was a podcast or if it was like they was having a conversation. He recorded and it was just everybody here. But he posted out there, and I'm sorry, Whack, you a damn clown. First of all, you act more like a bitch than anything. Like, you out here spilling people business that is not even your place to even be doing that. Like, if I'm calling you and having a private conversation, why is it going out for the world to hear? So that's how I found about that. So I don't know if that was the source that they got from Page Six, and they trying to pretend like they actually got a little source when they probably heard it somewhere else and don't want to give Black people credit, like a lot of these mainstream blogs don't want to do, or publications. But that's where I heard the tea. So now they also said that when the party ended, all three of the brothers were talking ish to Ray, and he was ignoring it because he was with Amber. And Amber Rose had a big old wig on. I was looking at her like, who is that? And then from another angle, I saw Hazel E. So I was like, oh, that must be Hazel E. I said, what is this? Y'all all trying to get on back on Love and Hip Hop? Because that's what it felt like. Well, Amber Rose was never on Love and Hip Hop, but y'all know what I'm saying. So they said that the men allegedly got up in each other's faces, began chest bumping one another. First of all, the chest bumping thing is so whack to me. Like, I feel like if people sort of quarrel, they intervene, including Chris Brown, got up in the middle of it. How y'all running up in here? First of all, y'all a little too young to be out here doing this. Number two, y'all are not about this life that y'all trying to jump up in. I understand that you want to windmill hard for your father and you don't like what's going on in regards to the whole situation. But here's the gag. Nobody put a gun to Diddy's head and told him to violate the many of people that he has violated for over 3 damn decades. Nobody put a gun to that man's head and told him to do that. These are the decisions that he made. This is the life that he chose. This is the things that he did to a lot of people, terrorizing people throughout the music industry and beyond for over 3 decades. And now because y'all are having a midlife crisis in y'all 20s because y'all can't figure out what's going to happen in regards of how y'all going to financially take care of yourselves or whatever it is. You running out in these streets trying to act like a bunch of damn goons when y'all not even about that life is clown-ish to me. Because I guarantee, why is it that y'all go after Ray J, but you ain't go after 50 Cent? He creating a whole documentary about your damn father. But y'all been real quiet about it. It's because y'all can't mess with Curtis. So because all this other stuff is going on, it's easy to pick on Ray J because Ray J be trying to give thug tease, but he's corny with his delivery. It's kind of like Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon be out here like, when you look at people and they try to be hard, and it's looking like, you are not about that life. Why y'all trying to play in this goon-ish where you're not really about that? Now, I don't know personally what Ray J be doing behind the scenes, but he do have a habit for running for that little book bag, that backpack like he Dora the Explorer. He do like running for that backpack whenever he get into situations. Because remember when he got into it with Lemmy from Zeus? Yeah, look at me, just giving y'all all the Negro nonsense. The ninjas out here acting like a bunch of damn ninjas. So yeah, so they was out here doing this foolishness. First of all, y'all out here chest bumping. First, okay, so I don't know. Y'all probably didn't see the costume. So yeah, you see them with the cheeks. That's Hazel E looking like I thought that was Tamar Braxton for a second because y'all favoring each other with all that damn plastic surgery and shit y'all be having. And then there's Amber Rose with the blonde wig. I thought that was Christina Aguilera, but then come to find out that was Amber. And the person that's wearing the Fear God State dressed like Kanye, that's Ray J. I like the helmet. It's giving me Daft Punk tease. But in regards to all of that stuff, that I have to say this is the part where you need to stand down, Combs boys. I don't understand like y'all jumping in and doing this stuff. Now, this behavior, I feel like makes the situation for Diddy worse because his legal team is trying everything in their power to get him released. And legal people and the feds and everybody else behind the scenes is working hard to keep his ass in jail because they know he is the type of danger he is to other people. So they're not gonna allow him to get out of prison because of that, because of all the allegations that's come out and the things, whatever they found on them federal, the tapes when the feds swooped in and discovered what they discovered. But the fact of Quincy and all of them jumping into an argument or wanting to fight Ray J because he made a comment on air about Diddy been taking a whole lot of asses, which is kind of funny though. It's like, go argue with your mammy. Like, I don't, well, child, they can't do that because they mammy dead. I didn't want to give Kim Porter that stray. But at this point, it's like, you can't go argue, you got to do it. Just focus on y'all. Y'all need to just keep your head down. Try to figure out what y'all going to do with the business or whatever business y'all got going on. But this whole trying to fight because your father is going through what he's going through, that's why he's paying these legal people the money that he's paying them. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Child, it's a mess, but let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, you said, like a virgin turns 40 years old on Halloween. Okay. J.D. Vance compared trans affirming care to gay conversion therapy. Well, he would know, while also denying that the male Sarah Palin twin isn't gay. I was like, first of all, you would know because you Peter Tills. We already know you Peter Tills, little butt buddy. You gave them cheeks to get where your ass is today. What about Mike Epstein, the former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch, who was flying in aspiring models when drugging and raping them? We talked about this on the show. I mentioned Mike Epstein. They're not talking about him. The media is not really talking about him. The people that have talked about him, I've heard the local news and stuff talk about him, but he has not gotten as much traction as the Diddy stories have. So I talked about it on the show, and I've been talking about Mike Epstein even before the Diddy stuff came out. But I was like, what else? Okay, so we got this story. Let's get into this one. Speaking of situations, seems like Beyonce is apparently worrying about Jay-Z's association with Diddy is gonna ruin her squeaky clean reputation. You want to know something? When I was checking out this story, I said, this is a bunch of BS. First of all, it's rated from Radar Online, so y'all can take it with a grain of salt. But I do have an opinion on it. But for the most part, I feel like this is a bunch of BS. So they said Jay-Z is said to be bristling behind the scenes over wild accusations linking him to Combs' alleged misdeeds and confidants, I should say, said that he's publicly putting on a united front with Beyonce as they scramble to protect their careers. The power couple's lawyers recently issued a scathing letter to newsman Piers Morgan, forcing him to apologize after Jaguar Wright, they said a guest on his show. It was Jaguar Wright, put forth unsubstantiated claims about Beyonce and her husband. Now, Jay-Z, who's 54, rose through the ranks of New York City's 90s rap scene alongside Diddy, who's currently facing federal trafficking, kidnapping, and racketeering charges. We already know all this. Lawmen are accusing Combs of hosting drug-fueled freak-off orgies involving unwilling participants. So they're basically trying to say that Beyonce is feeling a little spooked and nervous in regard to the situation, and saying that Beyonce is terrified Jay is going to be exposed for being complicit in or at least knowledgeable of Diddy's dirty deeds. She has friends saying she should not only distance herself from Jay, but leave him altogether if things get too hot. Well, I don't see that happening because here's the thing. Now, do I think that Jay-Z, like Diddy, I think this is what they may have in common. They may have used their position of power to get pussy. I do feel like they've done that. I do feel like Jay-Z has done that many a times. That in order to promise someone an advance in a career, whatever the case is, he has dipped his peen in a lot of cooch. I do feel like that's the case. Do I feel that he's been put in situations where he's done things like Diddy, where he's drugged and R-worded multiple women or things of that nature? Well, I don't think so. But if there is someone out there who has gone through some things and want to press charges, the gates, part the gates and go file your little reports. But I don't think that Jay and Diddy have that in common. Because if anything, Diddy has crossed paths with many of people who are moguls and other rappers in the business. What we're not going to do is paint the entire hip hop community with one broad brush and make it like everybody who was associated with the diddler is a sexual assaulter. Because to me, that's generalizing the community. And we already know that the government and people of that nature always kind of have like a hard on for hip hop and wanting to perpetuate a certain racist narrative. But Beyonce got other things to be worrying about. Like she's got, she had a situation where he was out here cheating. Who knows if he's still doing it? Because remember, she had the whole Lemonade album that was about his extramarital affairs. And I do feel like if it came down to it, she would leave him. But then again, there's probably between the both of them a lot of money, and trying to divide all of that up in the courts, it's probably gonna be a headache. But look, y'all both got the money between you. You can figure it out. But yeah, but so I just feel like back in the day, I feel like that's probably what it mostly would have been. I don't think that there is anything too crazy regarding that. So um I feel like that's all I gotta say on that. So I'll say this to you all. What do y'all think of this story? Do you think that Beyonce has reason to worry in regards of, a situation of, with Jay being attached to Diddy will hurt her in any way? Because, there have been some people out here that have been saying that, oh, since this Diddy stuff broke, that Beyonce been hiding. She been a little quiet. They're not really acknowledging the thing that's going on. And I'm like, why would she need to? Like, yeah, she's crossed paths with him. Diddy, I'm sure, has, if I can remember, has produced songs, I believe, not only for her, but for Destiny's Child. So they've been in the silo where they work with him. And I do feel like Beyonce is probably one of the lucky ones who, because of her father, Matthew Knowles, being her manager, was protected from the vultures. Unlike a lot of the younger girls that were coming up in my generation who probably weren't afforded the same protections. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, so now you said Peter Thiel is rumored to be funding the Young Turks grifting of, well, look, this is why nobody takes the Young Turks seriously. They have millions of followers, but if you look at the numbers on their YouTube channel, their episodes, their clips, all other stuff, they're not doing well. So Peter Thiel can fund whatever he want to fund. They're losing a lot of people. He said, love the outfit, give it all that rough trade vibe. That was the point. So come on, rough trade, let's get sickening. And of course, I got to butch queen it up. But anyway, okay. So now there was another one I had to add too, because it comes with a clip. That's getting Rihanna's ex-publicist claiming that Diddy slept with Biggie's son, CJ Wallace. Child, when I read this, I cackled. I'm like, y'all about to get Faith Evans pissed off in these streets. But let's get into it. So, longtime publicist Jonathan Hay claims that he was subjected to weird sexual advances at the hands of a male estate representative. He's also claiming that Diddy had S relations with CJ Wallace, the son of the notorious B.I.G. Now, the notorious B.I.G. raps he and Diddy were close like Starsky and Hutch on the 1997 Hypnotize, the last song he released before his death. Now, just 1 week later, the hip hop legend born Christopher Wallace was assassinated at the age of 24 while trailing behind Diddy's Chevy Suburban, which some people feel like Diddy was the one that probably set that up. There's also rumors floating around that Diddy might have been, no, not Diddy, that Biggie might have been, how you doing? That he might have dabbled. Nearly 25 years later, publicist Jonathan Hay was hired by Biggie's son CJ Wallace to reproduce some of the late MC's biggest hits for the family estate. But according to Hay, their business arrangement took a dark turn. He alleges a member of Biggie's team made sexual advances toward him. Now, hold on, because I was like, let me pull this picture up while we get into this story. Okay, so now it says, my experience with Biggie Smalls' team turn abominable to say the least. This is what he tells All Hip Hop. Similar to Diddy's alleged practices, the Notorious B.I.G. estate refused to acknowledge my sexual harassment complaints when I awkwardly came forward. I wouldn't participate in phone sex, nor would I watch one of the reps of the Notorious B.I.G. estate pleasure himself on a video chat during the pandemic. What the hell is wrong with people? Like, y'all just be out here openly doing all kinds of freaky stuff in the business. They said for 2 years after the disgusting incidences, I lived with regret that I didn't go along with that freaky ass weirdness. And I was instantly shunned and they terminated the project. I lost a significant amount of money and almost 2 years of exclusive Biggie work. Now, Hayes says Diddy was still a partner at the estate of Christopher Wallace Publishing Fortune, which included musical assets during featuring Jay-Z. He only got the courage to disclose what happened to him in the wake of, I was going to say, where is the video? But I got it. Because I was like, let me pull this up for y'all. But I got to cut through all this red tape. How long is this video? Oh, this is 43 minutes. So now this is where I messed up because I didn't see. What I should have did was watch the damn video, had the clip, and show it to y'all. So if y'all want to see the thing of him talking about how Biggie's son was allegedly hunching Diddy and how there were rumors about him being gay, and I even think Sandra Rose asked him on asked her, Faith Evans, on the red carpet if her son was gay, and she was like, I would love him regardless or whatever, but I mean, she didn't know it. She didn't know. Well, she didn't confirm nor deny, but she said if my son was gay, I wouldn't have no problem with it. But I think she got mad because Sandra Rose, who I believe is a lesbian, asked her, what the tea was, if that was, if her son was gay. But it was like, but why do you care? Like, why are you out here trying to out somebody's child when it ain't got nothing to do with you? So he said that I have strong resources, but in no way I could go up against the estate of the Notorious B.I.G., Diddy, and Jay-Z. It's only now that I can speak out about this because so many strong women have come forward with lawsuits and alleged criminal complaints against the former bad boy mogul. Now, in another incident, he claims that he was on a Zoom call with Diddy, King Combs, and two members of the estate shortly after the release of Hayes and Frank White's Big Papa house mix. As Diddy complained about the song not being good enough, Hayes said he observed him sniffing what he assumed to be either ketamine or booger sugar. Diddy said that I needed to make the house music with ketamine I say ketamine. Wasn't that the name of that was the name of a K Tronada album that he did. It was like a joint album and he called it ketamine, I believe. So they also said that as that's how all the ravers would hear it in places like Burning Man and Miami Ultra Music Fest. While on this bizarre pep talk call from Diddy, he was also sniffing ketamine or cocaine, which was so crazy to me at the time. I was flabbergasted he was sniffing, especially with this kid being on this kid being on the Zoom too. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he got King Combs and them out here sniffing all that mess too. Especially when they going hard for him and, in certain situations with them saying all kinds of craziness. So, and my thing, when I look at King Combs, he do look like he hiding Cooter Brown. So, what is it? Oh, so they said that after the deal fell apart, Hayes, who relocated to Brooklyn, by this time made a last-ditch effort and contacted Faith Evans through her manager. Said, I let them know what the rep of Notorious B.I.G.'s estate had made extremely unwanted sexual advances toward me. I also attached the gross MP3 heard by All Hip Hop of Biggie's rep singing repeatedly that he loved me in every weird way. Faith Evans' ex-husband and the active stepfather of Biggie's son, Todd Russell, sent me an email acknowledging that it was disturbing and that he would follow up, but he never did. They said it became somewhat concerning when I started receiving random texts or threats from Diddy's associates and those associated with Biggie's estate. For almost a year, I laid low key with my girlfriend in Washington Heights. Manhattan, where we temporarily moved to Texas to get out of Brooklyn. Now, Hayes was eventually sent a cease and desist letter over the Biggie project. It read in part, our client informed us that you are threatening to release the above referenced album without his authorization, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So there was a whole bunch of stuff that was up in there. And basically saying that our client has shared some of your correspondence with its team members and third parties, implying that you may have breached the NDA you signed on April 14, 2020. Our investigation continues, and we hereby reserve all of our clients' rights regarding this matter. So I guess maybe it was you supposed to have signed this NDA, but you wasn't supposed to reveal what was going on in private. So yeah, if you want to see the video or whatever of Rihanna's publicist, child, first of all, when y'all be on the YouTube, if you're gonna write something about a celebrity, can y'all at least spell a name right? Like, how do you spell Rihanna? Rianna. You forgot the H. So Jonathan Hay, there is a YouTube video of him talking about Diddy has sex with Biggie's son, CJ Wallace. I wish I would have just went through it to find out where exactly he said what he said. So that way I could have played y'all the clip. But this thing is 43 minutes. I'm like, I ain't doing that. I'm kind of trying to skim through it to see if I can see where the spot it. Wait, is that it? Let me see. Oh, I think I found it. Hold on. Share the tab.
Knew that CJ Mack was like bisexual because they acted like they weren't a couple, but clearly you could tell that they were a couple. Willie Mack and CJ Wallace is like I was like,
see, let me see if you can figure it out for y'allself. Now, you hear what he's saying, the scenario, okay? It's like a trail from the meet to the greet to talking some business, dinner, okay, go listen to a few jams, okay, go out on a few outings, and then this cycle repeats itself. Then the next time you're introduced into this person, and then it's like they actually cannot pronounce it.
Biggie's son is clearly a bisexual.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, folks, you heard it here first.
Okay, stop pausing, goddamn.
Yeah, okay, because we already know
things that we've exposed. Biggie and Puff Daddy was in with these transgender women. Are you familiar with that?
Correct.
I got more Mac than Craig and in the bed. Believe me, sweetie, I got enough to feed the needy. No need.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
And his lyrics, some of his lyrics that he says.
Yeah, he said.
Okay, so pretty much y'all got the gist, because if this thing gonna keep coming in with them noises, I'm like, I don't want to hurt, like, I don't want to have to put y'all through that damn mess. So y'all pretty much got the idea. That was a bit of the clip. If y'all can't have to watch that whole thing, then y'all can go over and find it on social media or whatever. But I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Do you think there may be some truth to the situation in regards of Biggie's son out here being I mean, if you bisexual, you bisexual. But if you was out there doing them, going to the freak offs, and Diddy was passing you around like a petri dish, God help that boy. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, so now let's get into this topic, and let's talk about Kanye West, who looked like he's trying to take a page out of Fiancé's handbook, because Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, I think, are in the whiskey business. And so let's get into that story. So it looks like Kanye West is taking a page out of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's business handbook and is looking to start his own range of whiskey. So according to Radar Online, they're saying that he's reeling again after being hit with a new drink spiking and sexual assault lawsuit which could sour his plan. The hip-hop legend is furious after his finances dipped and he was ejected from the Billionaires Club. But that was your fault, because you was running around saying all that anti-Semitic stuff. Now you've been banished to Japan. That's the only place where you can get work. Now they said that now he's hanging his hat on ranking in the cash once more with a new venture he hopes will become a global selling liquor brand. And didn't they say he just put $30 million down on a new mansion? But the booze plan comes at the time Kanye has been hit with serious allegations of SA by his former assistant, Lauren Prashada. According to the updated lawsuit filed by Prashada this month, West allegedly drugged and R-worded her during a party hosted by Diddy. Prashada, a former OnlyFans star, first sued West in June of 2024, accusing her of stalking and harassment. In her latest court filing, Prashada claims West escalated his misconduct by SAing her after giving her a spiked drink at a high-profile party in 2021. She alleges that West pressured everyone at the event to drink, and after taking a few sips, she became disoriented and lost control of her body. The lawsuit details how Prashada struggled to recall the events of that night, but remembers feeling less in control of her body and speech. Prashada later confronted West, who allegedly confessed to drugging her, laughing when she told him she had no memory of the assault. Kanye has been the author of his own financial woes in recent times. Now, his anti-Semitic remarks and the decision by Adidas to end his deal with West Yeezy brand slash his net worth of around $1 billion, according to Business Bible Forbes. He said the singing entrepreneur has now lodged papers with trademark officials in the U.S. to ring fence the name Villadram. Villadram? What the hell does that mean? Oh, they said seemingly a nod to the traditional measure of scotch. His team at the Oxpaha Inc. headquarters had applied to the United States Patent and Trademark Office to be allowed sole rights to market the grog using Villadram, and the application is being mulled over by attorneys at the government department before the application is made law. So it looks like he's out here trying to get in a new grift. I can believe that he would drink whiskey because we know him Kanye be on that brown juice. Other drinks in the application include med, ouzo, port wines, alcoholic punch, rum, sake, sangria, schnapps, sherry, distilled blue agave liquor, vermouth, vodka, wine, wine coolers, wine punches. I'm like, you trying to do all of this? They said that he wants to flog rappers' favorite drinks, cognac and brandy, plus vodka, gin, champers, and even cider. Boy, that's a lot of liquor. Hope you're not trying to mix all that together. They said calculations of the rapper's wealth have long been molded by his own exaggerations, but Forbes eventually declared him a billionaire in 2020. Yeah, because he's another one who like Trump. That's probably why they got along. They love to exaggerate their wealth. And so now he wants to do the alcohol line. And it says the intellectual property attorney told us about the importance of trademarks toward off bootleggers. He revealed this would give Kanye and his advisors the ability to take action against third parties who may be using the relevant word mark in the course of trade without consent. The mere presence of these kinds of trademarks on the register can also act as a deterrent where a third party is considering using a name or image without the owner's consent. Secondly, it improves the ability to enter into agreements to commercialize the personal brand with other firms. And I guess he's doing that because he learned his lesson with Adidas. When you was doing that business with stuff with them, they're like, we own the intellectual property. We own all that stuff. So you was up in there running around like you own the thing. You own everything, but you ain't own shit. And look, you had to walk away losing all your stuff. So now he's trying to do it with the liquor. But I was like, you know what? If I was to ever get into like a liquor line, it definitely would be a line of whiskey because that is my drink of choice. Like, I'm not really big on vodka. I'll do tequila every now and again, but I'm getting at the age where it's like, you cannot be doing tequila shots. So I'd rather just stick to the brown liquor. I like my whiskey, and that's that. And then I'll get into the other things like cognac. Back in the day, I used to drink cognac, but that was when I would do like Hennessy and what was the other thing? Well, you make the Hennessy and Hypnotic, which would basically be an Incredible Hulk. I don't drink those no more. I used to drink those back in the day. But anyway, so basically, I just hope that he's able to get his house in order and all this other stuff, especially regarding this assault case, because he may not be able to get no coins from this situation, especially with all these stories coming out about him. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? And would y'all be out here trying to want to actually get a swig of some of that Kanye liquor? Would y'all actually buy some of that Kanye liquor? Let me know in the comments. What are you going to call it? Yeezy? Or I guess he did put up in there what he was going to call it. But let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Anna says, I wish these celebs would do something more creative. Tom just released alcohol-free beer, which makes sense. Well, yeah. I get Tom Holland doing that because he's in recovery. Like he had some substance abuse issues, and now he's doing alcohol-free beer. You know what? I want to actually try that. I wonder what alcohol-free beer tastes like. Just like there's a lot of sober bars popping up. I actually think sober bars is a really good idea. So I really feel like more people need to capitalize on that. It's like, yeah, they have bars where people who are in recovery go to um you can go to a sober bar and you can just like drink whatever non-alcoholic beverages and stuff that's there, like mocktails and that non-alcoholic beer and all that other stuff. But also you can judge it up by making like having like fun stuff in the bar, like a pool table and stuff. Because you don't really need to consume alcohol to have fun. A lot of people don't really know how to be extroverted without putting liquor in their system. But if I'm with my friends and everything, I definitely can, let loose. Let loose. I said let her loose. Or, but sometimes I do drink, but I don't be drinking like I used to anymore. Thank the Lord. Lanier says, how is Kanye crazy ass making all this money even before him being chummy with Trump? He should have fell back after the BMA started interrupting Taylor Swift's speech because people like the shenanigans. But it wasn't until he made them anti-Semitic remarks that, they reminded his ass that he was a nooker. The Snoop rose. I didn't even know Snoop had a rose. I know Kylie. Look, everybody got a liquor line. Kylie Minogue got a wine line. Snoop got rose. I know some people are like, okay, that's a little demure, but I'm like, at Snoop age, first of all, if you're a person of a certain age, male or female, like I already said that, like when I get to be like in my 50s and all this other stuff, I probably would drop a wine line because I'd be like, I definitely would be somebody that would just get the big glass, sip my wine, and go about my day. Like I wouldn't be into like the whole hard liquor thing because not everybody does hard liquor, especially when you're older. So I didn't even know Snoop had a rosé. I may actually wind up trying it. Okay, so let me see. How many more topics we got? Oh, we got four more topics. So since we are almost at the end of the show, if you possibly can, if you have not already, please do me a solid and hit that like button and that subscribe button, and also be sure to smash that notification button so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Please and thank you. All right, without further ado, let's get into this story, which is about One Direction. So apparently there is a book in the works, a tell-all book that's said to spill some salacious behind-the-scenes tea regarding 1D. And now I'm like, would y'all be here to hear, all the dirt that was going on in this boy band? It all depends on what's in it. So they said the insider, who was at the heart of the group for a decade, has been compiling a diary about his time on the road, which chronicles the worst excesses of booze, drugs, and groupies. This is according to Radar Online. As fans continue to mourn the death of band member Liam Payne, a confidant of the Stars has photographs, recordings, and documents to back up what could be the most explosive book on the music industry in decades, according to a well-placed source. The highly placed mole revealed, this person knows a lot. He was the band's go-to guy if things needed fixing, like fallouts with girls, jealous boyfriends, and hotel managers moaning about smash rooms and unpaid tabs. He was the guy that sorted out the drinks. So he was basically the Olivia Pope of the music industry. He was the guy that sorted out the drinks, the drugs, and the groupies for the after-show parties, and who looked the other way when things took a turn for the wild. Apart from he wasn't looking the other way, he was writing it all down and recording the events, the good, the bad, and especially the ugly. The tome will also detail how bosses of the band signed by music guru Simon Cowell after appearing on the UK version of the talent show The X Factor kept the lads churning out hits and live performances at all costs. Basically trying to say Simon ain't that innocent in this whole situation. They said according to the source, they said there was a brutal and cynical money-making regime that the back of the boys had kept 1D secrets buried in the band on the road at all costs. Liam Payne died haunted by the horrific realities of the boy band business, and fellow group member Zayn Malik also found the price of fame very difficult to cope with, and that is why he quit the band before it dealt with an even more serious blow to his mental health. Together with Nicole Scherzinger, Cowell selected the boys from the groups of aspiring singers and mentored the band throughout the competition on the TV show. After finishing third, the music mogul signed them to his label Psycho Records, where they went on to sell over 70 million records. Now, following the shocking death of Payne at age 31 in Buenos Aires, Argentina, there was an outpouring of grief across the music industry and beyond. So, and including when we had Simon Cowell out here giving, talking about how he was devastated and basically was saying you never really know how you feel about somebody until something like this happens. And like I said, he was heartbroken and devastated. He felt empty and all these other things. And then, but according to this man, it was like, you know what, they were willing to do whatever they can to push these boys to success. And I was saying now, like, you know what? Even though they came in third, it's funny how they became one of the biggest boy bands at that time. I don't know if we could say in the world, because I would have to look at the numbers of many of the other boy bands that came before them. The boy bands like maybe a New Edition or New Kids on the Block or the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and those sort of things, because, One Direction came after that. Now, like I said before, I'm really looking forward to seeing this new competition series that's supposed to be coming on with Netflix that Liam Payne is a part of, Nicole Scherzinger is a part of, and Kelly Rowland is a part of, with what the hell's his name? AJ McLean hosting. But once that show is done, then we got to see where they plan on taking the franchise, and bringing in somebody new. So I'm definitely curious to see what it is, what's the tea on what they're going to be spilling in this book. And it was some juicy salations. And I know the fans probably going to get mad. How dare you release this book or whatever. I'm like, look, it's not focusing on Liam specifically, but it's giving an inside look into what was going down within the group and a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, which I would say would be no different than what you would read in a Jackie Collins book. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? You excited to check out this new alleged book that's supposed to be coming out about the behind the scenes shenanigans of One Direction? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. And speaking of comments, you said juice bar. They're like you saying the same thing as not serving non-alcoholic drinks. And you said the industry is ran by degenerate gays and is being exposed. Some of them. If you get a chance, try. I didn't even know Sam Neill had a wine. Everybody got wine these days. Why y'all not advertising? I'm glad y'all put me on. I may have to look and see where I can find these wines, because I am a wine drinker. Especially I love wine if I have steak and mashed potatoes, whatever, which I had last night, and I had a bottle of wine in the refrigerator. I don't know why I didn't think to drink it, because my mind was elsewhere at the time. But anyway, child, let's get into this mess. So remember the Tiger King Joe Exotic? Well, look, he got a new man. He apparently dumped his ex, Fiancé, and is now engaged to a 33-year-old Mexican gangbanger. And when you see what he looked like, I was like, okay, I'd have left my man too. Come on, trade. He's cute. But then I've seen the other pictures too. But we'll get to those. Now, in exclusive clips obtained by Radar Online, the former reality star born Joseph Maldonado Passage confirmed his 4-year engagement is no more after he proposed to a 33-year-old inmate named Jorge Marquez. Maldonado Passage wrote on Twitter, "He is so amazing and is from Mexico. Now the quest for getting married in prison and getting him asylum, or we be leaving America when we both get out." The 61-year-old added, "Either way, I wish I would have met him long ago." Well, child, if you met him long ago, he'd be an infant, because you're in your 60s, and he's like, there's a 30-year age gap. Now, in his jailhouse interview with Radar Online, Maldonado Passage said whether it helps his immigration status or not, we love each other enough to get married. We even got tattooed matching wedding bands already on. The Netflix star explained what it would do is it would assure him and it would show the court that he has a little bit of financial stability to stay in America. See, this is why I always say when it comes to these marriages, do y'all be loving each other for the sake of marriage? Or is this a situation where it's just like, y'all only doing it for, because marriages basically are business arrangements. It's like security. I feel like marriages, the way that marriages were set up back then, where it's basically you would marry your child off, like the daughter, to the man for that financial security or whatever. That world doesn't exist anymore. But I guess when y'all both locked up, they kind of still have that mentality. And plus, you have this kid who is not even a American citizen who's looking for to stay, asylum in America. Which, if you let Trump and them tell it, they just letting everybody come in from the borders. I said, yeah, well, our American government went over there and started just, these fascisms and dictatorships and destroying other people's countries. And then you wonder why these people are coming over here for a better life. And then now you want to close the door and keep them out. So it said that it's going to look better for his asylum case to be married. We're just hoping that the prison will allow us to get married and stay in the same prison. Maldonado passage will also reveal that the couple has to wait for the prison to approve everything. Well, yeah, once you go to jail, they have to approve all this stuff. They tell you when you got to eat, when you got to sleep, probably when you shit, when you can wash your ass, and all that stuff. So of course they got to approve all of this. But he said, I have faith. We don't cause any trouble here. We don't do any drugs. We respect the rules of the prison. I truly believe they will approve it. He gets out in May of next year, so that gives us 7 months to get my appeal done and find out where I'm at. We're hoping to be able to walk out the door close to the same time. Now, Maldonado Passage also shared that he can't get any help from the government to keep him here. I guess I'm going to Mexico. It isn't Maldonado Passage's first shot at love, as he was previously engaged for 4 years before ending things. When they say shot at love, why was I thinking they're going to do a reality show with like trying to find Joe Exotic a man? They say he told Radar Online the engagement didn't exactly live up to his expectations. Out of that 4 years, I got 1 letter, never a birthday card, never a Christmas card. He never came to see me. He's only 4 hours away, and it was always money, 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 money for this, money for that. So, I woke up and realized that this is honestly not in it for the both of us. So basically what he was saying was that the guy that he was in a relationship with, he only was into him because he had money. And he wasn't really interested in me because he loved me. So, I don't say, is there any more to the story? So Maldonado Passage then shared an email he wrote to his now former fiancé. He said, I've been for 7 months. I've been for 7 months. Okay, whatever. I'm going to just read it what he wrote. I've been for 7 months since you got your warrants cleared and you got your insurance and your driver's license back. And I've been paying for insurance for 7 months. And you can't care enough about me to drive for 4 hours to come see me. Shows how important I am. Then you say if you come, you wouldn't even want to kiss. So tell me, has this been a game this whole time? And he says, I don't care. I didn't do anything wrong. So whatever. That's his answer. Well, child, I would not be surprised if when you left this prison tomorrow, he out there fornicating. He probably Shantae got her new man at home while you rotting in jail for that crime you committed. Now, Maldonado Passage was first married to Travis Maldonado, who accidentally shot himself and died. I should have said Papa, but I'm just here reading. 2 months later, he tied the knot with Dylan Passage. However, they parted ways in 2021 after 3 years of marriage. So wait a minute. So Joe Exotic was really a homosexual? Because he's been out here marrying all these men. I thought it was kind of sort of like putting on airs. But no, she a member of the family. She family girl. She's a friend of Dorothy, as they would say, but that's the old school term for being a homosexual. So Patrick said at the time, we are on good terms still, and I hope it can stay that way. I will continue to have Joe in my life and do my best to support him while he undergoes further legal battles to better his situation. Maldonado Patrick, who shot to fame thanks to his Netflix series Tiger King, is serving a 21-year sentence after he was convicted for a murder to hire plot against his rival, animal rights activist Carol Baskin. Yeah, we remember that mess. He also went on to say that the criminal justice system is screwed. Well, speaking of screwed, this damn thing is a hot ass mess. But I was like, and look, I ain't gonna hold you, but them Mexicans, and y'all probably gonna get mad at me saying that they be having some good pussy. This is what happens when you live in New York. You got the pick of the litter. You get to try out all the different flavors, and they be throwing it back too. So I could definitely see why Joe Exotic is with him. But I hope, since you talking about your ex is using you and stuff, that this is not another situation, that y'all really genuinely care and have love for each other. And y'all not just using, he's not using you because there's an ability for him to possibly stay in the United States. But then he also said he can't get any government help. So he might be leaving New York. I mean, he might be leaving America to go to Mexico. But I'm like, do you think it'd be much better for you in Mexico? Child, I just heard this story about some gang activity that was going on out there and how this guy who was the owner of a nightclub was dismembered and the body was left in the back of the trunk or whatever, and then they put his head severed his head and put it in somewhere else, and they left there's a note to let them know what type of gang. I thought about bringing that to the show today, but I was like, I understand this is supposed to be the Halloween episode. Do I really want to make this a little even more morbid? So I'll say all this to say, because it's dangerous out in these streets. What do y'all think of this story? I cackled because I was like, y'all are messy. So whatever your thoughts are on this situation, the gays out here being messy, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Roro says, I'd be shocked if this book was ever published. Sound like somebody might be looking for some hush-hush money. Yeah, and hopefully it's not like another a situation like Kim Porter. Well, you remember that book came out and they was out here trying to say it's a lie, and then it ended up getting moved from Amazon. Onyx said, child. Jorge trying to get some papers. Simon Cowell was often unnecessarily cruel on American Idol, so news of any mental abuse he did at the members of One Direction would not surprise me. Absolutely. You make New York sound so appealing. It's just, yeah. It is, that is the thing. It's like, I love New York. New York is definitely one of the best places to live, but look, you are absolutely correct. It is too damn expensive. They're out of control with these damn prices and stuff out here. And hopefully, soon that we can get this thing where it's just like landlords are out here trying to price gouge renters because it is too damn expensive. Oh, okay. So, without further ado, okay, so now that I was thinking about doing the biggest Halloween songs or whatever. I looked at that list. I was like, this shit is tired. So now this is the part where I said, because it's Halloween, we're going to get into our Halloween bag and start doing our countdown. Where is it? Oh, the 100 best horror movies of all time. Now I know Onyx was like, just scroll down real quick through all the 100. I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a lot. But doing that, okay, so I was like, how would I even do that? Because it's a lot. Okay, so we'll do it that way. I'll just have to scroll on down. Let me mirror it so y'all can see, and then you could chime in. So we'll go through that. And I feel like from the top 30 on down, what we'll do is, I mean, why is Facebook open? Oh, I must have, hold on. I just realized I got so many windows open, and I did not realize that I had all these extra windows open. Okay, now we're cooking with gas. So yeah, so this is the official list. So we can all go through it as a family, courtesy of Variety. So Number 100, Repulsion. Never heard of that movie. I think it's a Roman Polanski movie as I was seeing it in passing. Suspiria 1977. I absolutely love this movie. This is from Dario Argento. And yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite Argento movies. If you ever seen it in Goblin, I always like the music with them. The Devil's Backbone. I believe that was Guillermo del Toro. Love that movie. 97, The Haunting. Not familiar with that one. That's probably because that's before my time, even though I do like older movies. Wait, what was that? Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This is actually one of my 96. This is actually one of my favorite Invasion of the Body Snatchers movies. It has Donald Sutherland in it. It's got who else? Leonard Nimoy. And there was a bunch of people in it. And Veronica Cartwright, she always in hysterics whenever she's in a damn movie. So this version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1978, if y'all never seen that, definitely check that film out. It's like one of my favorite remakes from that franchise. Dead Alive, I believe I heard of that one. That was from Sam Raimi. Yeah, I seen that movie. Number 94, Event Horizon. I did like this movie. This was an underrated one. Number 93, Cat People. Never seen that one, but I did see the woman Nastasha Kinski. That's from the 40s. 92, not the Human Centipede. Now, here's the thing. With the Human Centipede, that movie grossed me the hell out. I could not sit up. I'm not watching nobody's face getting attached to nobody's ass and you shitting in my mouth. It's like, I'm not into none of that mess. So, hell to the no. Hell to the no. To the no, no, no. In the words of Sheree Whitfield. Dead of Night, 91. Not familiar with that one. 90, The Page of Madness. Not familiar. 89, Horror of Dracula, not familiar with that one. 98, Blood Feast from 1963, not familiar with that one either. The Vanishing is number 87. Is that Robert Downey Jr.? I don't think I've ever seen this one. I may have to check that out. It kind of looked like it, but I don't think that's Robert Downey Jr. Village of the Damned. I did watch this one last year for the first time. It was enjoyable. Them little kids with them blonde wigs, they are creepy though. I did kind of like the one with Christopher Reeve though, and what the hell's her name? The Scientologist Kirstie Alley was up in it, and John Carpenter directed it. I liked it. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the most perfect movie, but it was I enjoyed it. It is based off the Midwich Cuckoos, which I didn't even know. Also, there was Midwich Cuckoos. I think there was a series that came out maybe 2 or 3 years ago that I didn't even know it existed. I know they were playing it on AMC Plus, and I saw it in passing yesterday. So I was like, even though it lasted like one little season or whatever, I don't know if it was a mini series, but I was like, I kind of want to check that out to see if it was actually good. Reanimator 85. Now, this is a movie that I absolutely love, especially that infamous scene with if you see that headless man and what he did to that woman coochie, y'all know exactly what I'm referring to. The oral sex scene, the headless oral sex scene. Nasty. But I definitely love Reanimator. And Jeffrey Combs is like one of my favorite actors. He's actually in that new movie Scream, if y'all ever seen it. That was produced by Damian Leone. If y'all have not seen that one, I know that's available on the to rent. So, or rent or buy. So you can go on Apple TV, not Apple TV, on what's that damn channel? Oh, you can go on Amazon and watch it. Dead Ringers. I never saw this one, but I did watch the series that they had Rachel Weisz was on. That was all right. I definitely want to check this because I am a David Cronenberg fan, so I know that's one of those I gotta watch. Little Shop of Horrors. The only one I've seen of this is the Rick Moranis musical. So I've never seen the original 1960 version. What Lies Beneath? This was a disappointment for me. I didn't particularly like this one. I thought that they could have went a little further with this story, but yeah, it wasn't good. The Wolfman, of course I've seen this. When I was a kid, my father used to always show me like old movies from like the 30s and 40s. So like the Wolfman and all the Boris Karloff stuff and the Lon Chaney thing. So yeah, I'm very familiar with a lot of these. And I used to watch the Abbott and Costello, stuff when Abbott and Costello met the Wolfman or Abbott and Costello meets Dracula and all that stuff. So yeah, I grew up on a lot of those films. Now, The House of Wax, I've never seen this one, but I did see the one with Paris Hilton and Jared Padalecki and Chad Michael Murray, who allegedly cheated on Sophia Bush with Paris Hilton. But I always got to throw in gossip. Now, I love this damn movie. The Omen, love this film. I watched that a couple of months ago. I haven't seen the thing on, I think it was on TMZ or one of the channels. Oh no, it was Daily Mail. But it basically was showing you like all the kids that did like the old horror movies and stuff, and they had the actor who played Damien up in there. Looks different, a little older, obviously, because he's got to be in his 50s at this point. And then they had Alex Vincent who played, the kid in Child's Play. They had a whole bunch of them. Angst, never heard of this one, but I may have to. But they said this is another one that was loosely inspired by Ed Gein. It seemed like a lot of horror movies were inspired by Ed Gein back in the day. And look, now we got Ryan Murphy making a series based on Ed Gein with Laurie Metcalf playing Ed Gein's mother and Charlie Hunnam playing the serial killer, the Blob. I did see this. Now the funny part, if you can get back, what's his name is in that? Steve McQueen. If you get a chance to watch this one was so damn cheesy, especially when you see the Blob and it looks like grape jelly or the strawberry preserves. That's what it kind of looked like. If you can get past that and some of the scenes of the fakeness with the horror stuff, I do like those old classic horror movies. And it was cute or whatever. But to be honest, the Blob that I prefer is the remake with Kevin Dillon and Shawnee Smith. I almost said Shawnee Stewart. Shawnee Smith. That is like one of my all-time favorites because everybody got in that damn movie. They was even eating, the Blob was even getting kids. So that's the one I actually prefer. Now hold on, because we scroll by quick. One said, I Walk with a Zombie. Never heard of it. But I just want to give, for those of you who might be interested, the opportunity to go and see that movie. What is going on? Let's scroll on down. The Descent. Okay, I do like this movie. I like The Descent too, but the first Descent is actually much better. Obviously, because it's the first. Especially with that, I didn't even know what Sri Lankan was. 74, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, why did I think this movie should have been higher? But I guess, well, I don't know what the reason is. But to me, I feel that if this is my list, I would have made it higher. 73, Blood of Dracula. I did see that one. I think I saw it like on Shudder on one of those damn channels. Creature from the Black Lagoons at 72. They are remaking that one. What I think Blumhouse or somebody is making a Creature of the Black Lagoon remake. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with the remake, but I've never seen the original. Hostel Part 2. Now, child, now you know how I feel about body horror or gorno, whatever you want to call it. Kind of basically Hostel started kind of like where we see the films like Terrifier and all that stuff is. I definitely love Hostel. Hostel is basically, I love the first one. I was mad when they killed off the guy that survived the first one. I can't remember what his name was in the movie, but Jay Hernandez, I know, was the actor that played him. So I was mad when they unalived him in the sequel, and then we got in with the women. But then look, there was some behind the scenes stories in regards to like how Bijou Phillips was a nuisance on set, especially towards my girl Heather Matarazzo, Wiener Dog from Welcome to the Dollhouse. She tells that story on how she was a nightmare. Not surprised what happened to her damn husband. They probably need to lock her ass up too. But anyway, this is not about Bijou. It's about Hostel Part 2. I definitely like this movie, although I did feel for them, and I felt like Heather Matarazzo had the best kill because having her like above that woman and she was cutting her, and then the blood gushed out, and she took a bath in her blood. I'm like, okay, that first of all, that was like giving me vampire vibes. That would be something I would see like a sexy Lilith, like a scene with Lilith, who is like the queen of the demons, the vampires, all that stuff. If she was to do a scene like that, she would take a bath in the blood of like a virgin or whatever the case was. I would like that would be an iconic scene. So yeah, I definitely love Hostel 2, but I can definitely see why I was in the 70s. Now, The Wailing. This is a good one too. Like one for me, I love a lot of Korean horror stuff. Like I like Korean action, Korean horror. The Koreans definitely doing what needs to be done in regards of like cinema and stuff. So if you have not seen this film, I believe it's on Shudder. So you could definitely check that out. And it's a long one too. It's like 2.5 hours. That's another thing too. Like if you don't have the patience to sit through a lot of the Korean movies, a lot of the movies are pretty much lengthy. And it's basically, it's got like an infection vibe going on with it. So if you like that. Now, Near Dark at 69. Now, this is a great take on vampires. Catherine Bigelow directed this film. It's funny how I said I was going to do top 30, but I knew I was going to scroll through this stuff and start going down memory lane with a lot of these movies. So let's just keep going. So Near Dark is definitely a favorite movie of mine. If y'all have not seen this, definitely check it out. I love this film. Catherine Bigelow did her big one with this movie. I know it's like it did. I don't think it did well at the box office, but it's definitely like a cult classic. Lance Henriksen is in it. The actress, damn, I can't remember her name. The woman that actually played Vasquez, and this is how you know, like she's a chameleon. The actress that played Vasquez in Aliens was the woman that was also the vampire in this movie. How she completely changed her look up. That's what I call a chameleon. I don't think a lot of people knew that. I don't even think she was Latina. I think she was actually played by a Jewish woman because her last name was Epstein, unless she married a Jewish man or something or another. I don't know. But and I like the fact that they were not your traditional vampires, because we had vampires and stuff who would basically, it's like, you know, the vampire thing. Oh, it's like you had to sleep in a coffin, this and the other. Their coffin was basically an RV. And then they would be driving in the morning. They basically would just put aluminum foil on the windows. And I liked how the idea of they would they would start smoking when the sun would get them, and how they would catch on fire and burst into flames and all this other stuff, and the backstory on them in the film. So yes, it's definitely a good movie that I feel like a lot of people should check out. They got at 68 The Sixth Sense. I actually watched this the other day, not too long ago, like earlier this year, because I was like, the minute that The Sixth Sense ended up on, I think it was where did I see it? HBO Max. The minute they put that up there, I was like, you know what? I haven't seen this movie in a month of Sundays. Let me refresh my memory. And I forgot how good this movie was. What the hell happened? M. Night Shyamalan. Like, I feel like you had so much potential going for you, but I feel like he got so caught up in the matrix of The Sixth Sense and the twist ending and how everybody was so hyped over this movie that he got caught up in that silo of, well, damn, now every movie I come out with, I got to do a damn twist. And when he did that, people was kind of side-eyed. He was like, sir, you must have, at this point, I think you were one damn trick pony, because you're not doing what needs to be done. As I drop my damn bottle on the floor. Okay, so let's move on. So they have at 67 Possession. I think I've seen this movie. Speaking of Sam Neill, y'all talking about his wine line, and look at him in this movie. I think I've seen this, but I forget where I saw it at. It was on one of the streaming services, but this was a good one too. So it says the demise of the romantic commitment can be frighteningly complicated. That is like this psychosexual film where it follows a couple, Sam Neill's Mark, just back from an espionage mission, and Isabella Johnny's Anna, who's been having an affair in Cold War Berlin, as they confront one another in increasingly bloody and destructive brawls. So yeah, that was a crazy movie. But I forget which streaming service I saw it on. It might have been like HBO Max or one of those. The Babadook. Okay. Now I know everybody be so hyped for this movie, but that little boy worked my root canal nerve. I remember when I would watch this film, I was just like, oh my God, but somebody just throw him out of a window or something. I wanted them to do to him what they did to that little girl in Hereditary. Damn, should I have said that? But yeah, he was just getting on my damn nerves in that movie. But you know, people called the Babadook a gay icon. And it's basically because, you know, it's basically about a mother exhausted by her disturbing young son when a Melbourne father hurled his 5-year-old daughter off a brick. See, now, I totally forgot about that part. I'm sitting there talking about I wanted them to throw him out of a window. That's probably, you know, subconsciously, I was thinking that. And then here I go reading the damn line of that's what happened in the movie. So yeah, it was an interesting film. It's got a bit of a German expressionisms and things of that nature. But yeah, that little boy worked my root canal nerve in the Babadook. I was like, I hope I didn't miss it. Oh, The Incredible Shrinking Man. The only thing I've ever saw was The Incredible Shrinking Woman. I've never seen The Incredible Shrinking Man. And I've seen Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. But as far as like The Incredible Shrinking Man, that is not a movie I've ever seen. So, okay. Oh, Planet Terror. Now, you know, here's the thing. I love me some Robert Rodriguez, and I love me some Quentin Tarantino. And I actually loved that whole grindhouse double bill situation. I wish they would have made more of those, but it didn't do well at the box office, so it just wasn't a thing I was going to pick up, because that was during my generation. We weren't really aware of like the grindhouse type of vibe, because we were too young to be watching those movies. Those like more or less people who were born in like the 60s and things of that, and the 70s, that would be more or less into the whole double feature, grindhouse, that sort of thing. Like I remember growing up, I went to like drive-in theaters and things, but Planet Terror, that was my damn movie. And I love me, y'all know I love me some Rose McGowan. So with her being in that movie and her kicking ass and taking names, I was living for every aspect of that, especially when she had like the leg gun. So yeah, that definitely worked for me. Now, as far as Death Proof goes, where I'm sure that's probably on this list, I wasn't really big on Death Proof, and I think it was because I felt like it was just too much talking, wasn't enough killing, and I feel like that was around the time where Quentin Tarantino was trying to be a little shady, because he had made a comment about The Matrix Reloaded and talking about, oh, well, they had that big highway sequence and stuff with the cars, and it was so fake and nah. And then he goes and puts that one big car chase sequence in that film, and I think that's where that stemmed from. But it's like, Quentin, you made a whole career out of taking ideas from other people and just making it your own. So we're not trying to say that, okay, but the big difference with that is he's great with the dialogue. That's the hook. The way he writes and stuff, and how he comes up with characters and stuff. He's real good with character development. He's good at writing dialogue. He's good at all the other stuff. But when you watch a lot of his movies, it's all derivative of things we've already seen. Like Kill Bill is one big Shaw Brothers movie. The first one. And then the second one kind of goes into this whole Western thing. Okay, so now they have Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, which of course y'all know is a classic. Gremlins, child. Now I remember the first time I saw Gremlins, I was a little kid, and it was at a drive-in theater where my sister and I were with. I think it was like the Fresh Air Fund or one of those other things where you stay with different families or whatever. And we actually got to go and see this movie. It was a double feature. It was this, and I think it was Twilight Zone, the movie. And I loved doing the whole drive-in theater situation, because it was like nothing I had ever experienced. And Gremlins is definitely like one of my all-time favorites. I look at it as like the quintessential Christmas movie. So it's like, that, and don't throw tomatoes at me, but I've never seen Gremlins 2, the new batch. I remember getting the book and reading it, but I never actually sat and watched it. And I know both of them is on HBO Max, so I could actually sit down and watch it. But yeah, Gremlins is like one of my favorite, I'll say, Christmas horror films. Now, Candyman, child. Now, I love this movie. First of all, the music. I'm still mad that they killed off Casey Lemons. That's the black woman with the curly hair. I was mad when y'all did her dirty. But here's the thing what I didn't understand. If Candyman was done dirty by white people, why he kill all them black folks? Like, it didn't make no sense. Like, I felt like if you're going to do Candyman, it should have been a revenge film about a slave, or free slave, because wasn't he a free slave that got with a white woman? And they went and they cut off his hand, and they stuffed him with the honey, and the bees attacked him and all the other mess. And then he was out here killing black people in Cabrini Green Projects, which is no longer around. I'd have been like, well, first of all, I would have been getting revenge on the white people, but I guess that would have been too heavy of a subject, because of, them like, you got this black man going around killing white people. But look, it was based off of a Clive Barker novella, which I am a fan of Clive Barker. I really wish they would make more movies out of his books and novellas like they do with Stephen King. So they have Funny Games, which is from 1997, which is number 60. I'm not familiar with that film, but I'll have to check into that one. Now, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane? Now, this is a gay classic, not only a horror classic, but the gays live for Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. This is like one of my favorite movies. I could quote this film word for word. And Betty Davis, knowing the behind-the-scenes tea between how Betty Davis and Joan Crawford hated each other, is the icing on the cake. And how when she slapped Joan, she slapped her ass for real. So that wasn't like a fake take, though she slapped the daylights out of her. So knowing that behind-the-scenes tea about how they couldn't stand each other, that adds a little to the situation. Now they got raw now, ooh, baby, I like it raw, but I'm not familiar with this movie. And number 58, Number 57, Peepin' Tom. Okay, so now I had heard so many stories about this movie, and you know they talk about this in Scream, because they was talking about how like the first film that was, you know, the first POV shot. A lot of people think it's Halloween. It's actually POV. I mean POV. It's actually Peepin' Tom, or they actually think it's Black Christmas. But Peepin' Tom came out in the 60s. And the first time I saw this, because I couldn't find nowhere to watch this movie, but it was on Tubi. And I think it's still on there. So if y'all actually want to watch Peepin' Tom, definitely check this movie out. It was actually pretty good. And I was like, yeah, y'all really pushed the envelope for its time, especially a horror movie of this magnitude in the 60s. I believe it came out around the same time as Psycho, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, actually, it says it in the line. It said the first line, the year Psycho was released. So another film about a deranged killer who liked to watch his victims. So yeah, it did come out around Psycho. The Fly. Now, you know, this is David Cronenberg, so you already know what you're going to get with this. Body horror. The Fly walked so the substance could run, basically. And seeing Jeff Goldblum do this teleportation situation, and then there's a damn fly gets into the room and he winds up getting infected and starts falling apart and turning into the fly. This movie was disgusting. And this, I guess, yeah, this was a crazy movie. I absolutely love that film. I haven't seen it in a long time. I think it's probably because of the body horror. Like, you have to have, I feel like David Cronenberg's movies is an acquired taste. You have to get in the mood to want to watch some of that stuff, because sitting there watching cuss and things fall, people's noses and body parts falling off, it's a lot. Okay, so now let's move on. And then we have the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Not familiar with that one. That's a little too before my time. Like, I feel like that's silent era. I tried watching the original Nosferatu. I was so bored with that film. That's probably going to come up in the countdown. But yeah, I was like, that's why I'm really looking forward to the Robert Eggers one that's coming out at the end of the year. I definitely am going to the movies to see that. And I like Robert Eggers, so I'm really hoping that he'll give me what I need in regard, like rejudging the whole Nosferatu thing and making it entertaining for those of us who really weren't into the whole silent thing. Now, at 54, they got Let the Right One In. I actually like this one, and I love Let Me In with Chloe Grace Moretz. That was a good one too. But you know, you always got out. For me, I always feel like I have to give it up to the originators, because if the originators could do it well and serve it in a way where it's like, okay, I see you. I definitely like this movie. This was a good one. So if y'all have not seen the original Let the Right One In, definitely check that movie out, because it is a good one. Eraserhead. I've been hearing so much about this film, but I've never actually watched it. It says Blood and Black Lace from 1964. Then we have Irreversible. Never heard of this one. Gaspar Noé's epically sinister film drops us into the world of lurid and evil things, such is no skill for you feel they're literally happening before your eyes. So what is this movie about? They're talking about how the Inferno, it's about a sex club. Okay, y'all love my alley, where the atmosphere of assault climaxes with a head basher murder that's one of the most hideously terrifying visions ever seen in a movie. The scariest thing about it is the suggestion that the murder victim enjoyed it. Ooh, so he's giving us Stanley Kubrick type tease. I might have to actually check that one out. Irreversible, not to be confused with Irreplaceable, the song by Beyoncé. Okay, Onibaba. Is that like a Japanese film? Because that's what's yeah, it is. I've actually heard of this film. There was something, how I heard of it. I think I was watching Shudder, and they were doing their whole countdown of, like, you know, when they do their little horror movie things where they want to talk about like Japanese horror, they want to talk about like slasher films and Final Girls and stuff. So they released one last month that I think is currently airing on AMC Plus, and they mentioned this movie, and I was sitting there looking for it, but I couldn't find it nowhere. So it's definitely based off of what they were saying in the thing. I definitely want to check this movie out. Okay, so now I was just talking about Robert Eggers, and here goes another one of his movies called The Witch, which was actually another one that was pretty good. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I didn't know what I was walking into when I saw it. where it kind of had like this New England vibe and all this other stuff. I was like, okay, you give me my life with this film. And you know, it's A24. A24 is not always on it when it comes to saying they're way more on it than Blumhouse. But for this one, I was like, okay, this was a good one. So if y'all have not seen that movie, definitely check it out. And Anya Taylor-Joy is in it. Funnily enough, I just saw that Minty did a thing about 10 things you didn't know about the birds, and they got this on the list. And also, The Birds, I think is on HBO Max and on one of the streaming services. Oh wait, no, it's on Netflix. So I definitely was going to be like, I need to revisit this movie because you know every now and again I definitely love this movie. And they have Melanie Griffith's mother, Tippi Hedren, is in it. So yeah, it's like one of many of my favorite Hitchcock movies. So if y'all have not seen it, definitely check it out. Gojira from 1954. Well, you know, Godzilla will always be an icon in regards of, you know, cinema and things of that nature. So what is 46? The Thing. I kid you not, I literally watched this movie over the weekend. And it gets, you know, it excites me every time when I see this movie, especially with the practical effects. Like it still holds up. And this movie came out in 1982. I'm still mad to this day that this movie flopped at the box office. And because E.T. was the big hit. Now, I'm not throwing shade at E.T. I lived for E.T. That was like one of my favorite movies as a kid. But, well, when I was old enough to watch it, because in 82, I was like an infant. So, years later, when I was old enough to see E.T., which is probably like the late 80s, early 90s, The Thing is also something I happened to see years later. And when I first saw it, when I was old enough to be able to watch horror films, I definitely enjoyed all the things I was seeing in the film, especially like a lot of the practical effects and this little alien creature or whatever the case was. So yeah, I was thoroughly entertained by this film and still am. And I love the ambiguous ending, where it's just like, you don't know what happened to that. Well, the creature blew up, but is it really dead? So they have the Invisible Man. Didn't we just? Oh, I thought we did it. No, that was the Incredible Shrinking Man. So they have the the Invisible Man from 1933 at 45. We're Cooking with Gas. Manhunter at 44. Funnily enough, I saw this a couple of months ago too, which is basically, you know, based off of the whole Hannibal Lecter situation. William Peterson, I believe, was in this film where he was a cop, or he was playing somebody. I think it might say it in the notes or in their description. I forget who he played, or whatever. But Michael Mann directed it, and I happened to see. I think it was on Prime Video, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I've heard so many things about this movie. Let me check it out." I thought it was pretty good. And then you had, instead of, you know, before there was Anthony Hopkins, you actually had Brian Cox played Hannibal Lecter. So he wasn't the first person to play Hannibal Lecter. It was basically Brian Cox. And I like Brian Cox. You know, he's been in a lot of stuff. I believe he was also on Succession. He's also was in X-Men 2, which is like one of my favorite X-Men movies, along with Days of Future Past. And so yeah, they had William Peterson in that one from CSI. He was in it, playing the lead. He played he played Will Graham. That's what it was that he played, because I was like, he was an FBI investigator. So yeah, he was the one that played Will Graham. But also I missed the old Hannibal series where they had I forgot the actor's name, but I think he's married to Claire Danes. He played Will Graham in the TV show with Mads Mikkelsen playing Hannibal Lecter. So then we have Vampire as in 1932. Never seen that one, but I've heard about it. Excuse me, 28 Days Later. Now, I definitely love this movie because I felt like it changed the game in regards of like zombies. Where if there was the first one, well, they say they're not zombies, they're infected, whatever. Tomato. But with the 28 Days Later, you know, they had like the fast moving infected that were going around with the rage virus. Well, guess what? We're getting 3 more because we only got 2 so far. There's 28 Days Later, and then there was 28 Weeks Later, which is with Jeremy Renner. I like that one too. It wasn't as good as the original 28 Days Later, but I thoroughly enjoyed the sequel. But now we have 3 more coming. They have 28 Years Later, and then I believe they have 28 Years Part 2, which I just heard when Aaron Taylor Johnson's actually in the first one. I don't know about the second one, but I heard Nia DaCosta is directing it. Speaking of Candyman, she actually directed the Candyman remake, and she directed The Marvels, which that movie wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. It was all right. So I'm not going to go too hard on Nia over that, but I was calling Marvel or whatever, them sticking their nose in the situation, messing things up. But so far, they're doing a trilogy. They have 2 of the films, from what I heard, already in the can, and we should be getting the first 28 Years Later next year. And like I said, Aaron Taylor Johnson is in it. And Cillian Murphy allegedly is rumored to be reprising his role because, you know, he was in the original 28 Days Later. I believe he played a bike messenger. So Alex Garland definitely did the damn thing with that. And I felt like he did flip George Romero's idea of zombies on his head. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with this franchise. So they also have a film from 1971 called The Devils, which I've never heard of. I may have to, after this show, write a couple of these names, go through this list again, write some of these names down and be like, let me look these films up. Number 40, Bride of Frankenstein. When are you supposed to be remaking Bride of Frankenstein or whatever? Whatever happened to that movie? Okay, so and then they have Quadon from there's at number 39, 1964. Not familiar with that one. Freaks from 1932. I remember did they do something like this similar on American Horror Story? I think they took inspiration from the Freaks movie. But this Freaks movie, like if you watch it, it's a silent film. If you watch this stuff, it will definitely freak you out in certain situations. But I feel like that it's an acquired taste, especially when they have real life, as you would consider, freaks in the damn movie. Then we have Deep Red, which is this based off the oh yeah, it is Dario Argento. This is another one I love. So, you know, I definitely, well, you know, giallo movies are pretty much like Italian slasher films. So I believe if you want to see Deep Red, if you have Shudder, you could definitely check this movie out. You could probably also go on Tubi. Tubi, we have, you know, say what you want about Tubi. And I know we got to sit through them damn commercials, but they be having a real good list of horror movies. But the first time I saw all of these is on Shudder, because Shudder always has like a lot of really good Dario Argento giallos that you can watch. But you know, it has a twist up in it, and it basically is about a guy who is an English pianist who witnesses a murder. And I think it was because he saw this woman get killed in her apartment when he's looking up at the window, and then he's compelled to investigate. So it's definitely a great movie to watch. And with him, he likes to go to the extreme in regards to the horror. Now, child, speaking of which, now didn't we just talk about Hereditary? Can't look at this child the same, especially after what happened with her and that pole when she stuck her head out that window. I'm still traumatized by that damn scene. And the worst part of it was the brother was in such shock from that scene. He gets out the car, goes to bed, and literally just like lays there. Couldn't even go to sleep. So you literally see time passing as he's laying in the bed, covering himself up in the blanket with his eyes open in like sheer shock and disbelief until what the hell's her damn name? The actress. I don't know why Toni Collette. I don't know why I always get her confused with Tilda Swinton, but for some reason I always get her name mixed up. So until she goes downstairs, goes to the car, and you hear that horrifying scream. I was like, child, this movie puts me through it every time. That's why Hereditary is an acquired taste. Like, I really have to be in the mood to watch that film. But yeah, I felt bad for that little girl. What's her name? Millie Shapiro. Has she ever been in anything else after that? I think probably people think that happened for real. But I don't think we've seen her in anything. So they have Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I already told you my favorite version, so we could skip through this. Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. Now I did watch this one recent too. And that's Cassie from I forget her Cassie Wesley or whatever her name was. I can't remember her last name, but I remember her when she was Cassie the Piper over on One Life to Live. So She's in this movie. And I definitely love Evil Dead too, because I watched that the other day as well. Sometimes when I be on my way home from work, I'll pop on a movie from Shudder and I entertain myself when I'm on the subway. Because sometimes I'm like, I don't want to listen to no music. I want to watch a movie. So sometimes I'll be entertaining myself. And so because I'm in the Halloween spirit, I threw on Evil Dead 2 about 2 weeks ago. Okay, so now let's move on and scroll down. M from 1931. Not familiar with that movie. I don't think you're talking about Madonna. Night of the Hunter from 1955. Not familiar with that one. Ringu. Now, I've never actually watched Ringu, but I know that what's his name? Hiroyuki Sanada, who was from Shogun and a bunch of other stuff. I know he's in that damn movie. And I've never seen Ringu, but I've seen The Ring. So, and I know Ringu is available on the streaming services. So I'm thinking that maybe I'll take the time to actually sit and watch it. But yeah, I've never gotten around to actually watching Ringu, but I've always wanted to get around to watch it. I just never have. So, Eyes Without a Face. Yeah, I've seen this movie. This was a crazy one. What else? Phantom of the Opera. Never seen that one. The Wicker Man. This ain't the one with Nicolas Cage. Yeah, okay. The one with Nicolas Cage was terrible, but this one was actually a good one. This was such a weird freaking movie, like these cultish type people or whatever. If y'all get a chance, if you have not seen The Wicker Man, definitely check that movie out. Dracula. Well, who hasn't seen Dracula with Boris Karloff? That's a classic. Oops, I opened up the wrong thing. So I'm pressing the ads by accident. With Bela Lugosi. The Innocents from 1961. I don't think I've ever seen that movie. Yeah, we're almost at the end. Child, they got Scream at 25. How dare you? That movie needs to be higher. Now, you know, I could quote this movie word for word, especially Casey Becker's lines. Hello? Hello? Who is this? Who are you trying to reach? What number are you trying to reach? And you know, it goes on and on and on. I could sit there and do that whole line for like 15 minutes. Because I remember I can't tell you how many times I watched this damn movie. And that iconic scene, how they basically, it was like the Janet Leigh from Psycho type twist, where you see the big star like Drew Barrymore, who you think is about to be the lead, because I don't know if a lot of people know, but she was originally up for the role of Sidney Prescott. But because I think she was busy with a whole bunch of she told this story on her talk show. She had other priorities and things going on and developing her production company and all this other stuff. And she also produced Scream. She was like, I'll do a small role. And that's what happened. So yeah, Scream is like one of my all-time favorite iconic films. And I just love the pop culture references and all that other stuff. So and how meta it was, and it's just an iconic movie, and that's why I had to laugh when you had Ross Matthews behind up there talking about, because Matthew Lillard came out and surprised him on the show, and they were just like, she could come back, like his character Stu could come back. No, he got a TV on his head. He ain't coming back. Just like she's not coming back. She was hung from a tree outside her parents' house with her gut spilling from her body. She is not coming back unless she a ghost. But Casey Becker is dead. Now, child, let's get into this mess. Now, the Blair Witch Project, in my opinion, this film was one of the most overrated films I ever encountered coming up. I did not particularly care for the Blair Witch Project. I remember when it was so much hype and talk about this movie, and then when I sat and watched the damn thing, I was like, really? This is what all this is? I was bored. Like, I get all the acting and everything, and everybody thought it was real, and found footage horror in the 90s was pretty much like unheard of. Like, we wasn't really big on this type of thing. So you could have just threw some stuff over our head and we would have believed it. And for a while, a lot of people did. People really thought this was really had happened. But in my opinion, I just didn't care for it. Dawn of the Dead. Now, I love this movie. Now, of course, I love the remake that Zack Snyder directed, but do not write. It was written by James Gunn. I like that version, but I also love the original 1978 version because it's George Romero. Anything George Romero would put out within reason, I liked. I like Dawn of the Dead. I liked his Night of the Living Dead, which my mother remembered telling me when she was young. She said that movie scared the mess out of her. And then I watched it when I was of age. I'm like, this ain't scary, but I realized it's different. The movies that we watch are different than when you experience a film that's from the 60s, you will be scared at that time because you've never seen something like that before. So when you come up at a time where you've never witnessed these type of films being made, of course you're gonna be scared. But Tom Savini, you know, he does a damn thing when it comes to the effects and things that he comes up with. So we have Carnival of Souls. I don't think I've ever seen that movie. 21, Black Sunday. I actually did see that one. That was another Italian horror movie. And, you know, when I always talk about Dario Argento, hold on, let's go back. Whenever I talk about Dario Argento, I also like Mario Bava's movies as well. There's a bunch of them that make a lot of really good Italian horror films. And Black Sunday is definitely another one of them. I think I also saw that on Shudder. Shudder, I told you, they're having the classics. So if y'all get a chance, definitely watch that one. Get Out. Now, child, now this is the one where I'm really hoping that Jordan Peele doesn't become the next M. Night Shyamalan, because I feel like Get Out was the movie that kicked off his career as a filmmaker, and that was a great movie from beginning to end. Pure excellence. I love the social commentary that was put up in that, but also the deep-rooted horror that kind of was in the underbelly of that film. And sunken place, like he came up with words, going into sunken place and things of that nature. A phrase we still use pertaining to coons and buffoons. So Get Out is definitely a movie I love. I saw that in the movies when I worked at AMC at the time. So I went and saw that in the theater. I was like, you know what? It's the hype died down from it because it was hard to get a good ticket for this movie. So I was like, so I sat and watched it. I was like, I enjoyed the film, and it wasn't that big. It wasn't that busy in the theater. It was a big theater, so it wasn't a lot of people. That also made me, you know, excited to sit and watch it. Because, you know, I always think when it comes to Black movies that people are gonna be in there making noise, being rude, being this and that. But everybody was pretty much well behaved because they was caught up. They were just deeply focused on the movie. And this was definitely a good one. So I hope Jordan Peele gets back to that, because I didn't particularly care for Nope. I thought there were moments of Nope that was cool, but for the most part, I was disappointed with that film. And then there was also the other movie that he did with Lupita Nyong'o, and they had like the two-sided family with Us. I didn't like that one either. Now, Lupita did her damn thing acting in it, but I just didn't overall like the premise. Okay, so now we have The Mummy. Oh yeah, of course I've seen this movie because I told you I watched a lot of the old stuff back in the day when you had Boris Karloff and Lon Chaney and all of those actors. The Shining. Now I know Stephen King can't stand this damn movie, but I'm sorry, I love it. And what Stanley Kubrick did in regards of like seeing Jack lose his damn mind the longer they stayed in the Overlook Hotel. Speaking of which, they when I was telling y'all earlier about the kid actors and stuff, where they was talking about the little boy that played Danny, they showed the ones that played the twins too. So it's definitely a good one. That's like one of my favorite films to watch. Diabolique. Now the only Diabolique I saw was the one with with Isabella Adjani and Sharon Stone. That's the only one I saw, which I heard which from what people said. Well, I didn't know no better when I saw it. The people said that the original is way better. So I need to watch the original to compare. Halloween at 16? Have y'all lost your damn mind? How you put one of my favorite slasher films at 16? So what they said. Roger Ebert referred to them as dead teenager movies. First of all, Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel worked my root canal nerve. First of all, when I look at them, I feel like they were nothing but damn frauds. They personally, I felt like had a vendetta against horror films. When you watch things, when I watch a lot of documentaries and things of that nature, and then they assert Siskel and Ebert's opinions in there, I didn't realize until now they were full of shit in a lot of stuff that they said. So basically he referred to them as dead teenager movies demoralized by a number of Black Christmas knockoffs he was obliged to sit through during the 1980s, and resented them even more once Friday the 13th applied giallo-level gore to the genre. Conceptually, John Carpenter's quickie copycat script, originally titled The Babysitter Murders, was no better, but he executed it so well. Halloween set the template for all that followed, saying its tricks became so codified Over the next quarter century, Kevin Williamson could rip them off in his script for Scream, describing the typical no-talent girl who was also running up the stairs, but she should be running out the front door. The exception being future Oscar winner Jamie Lee Curtis, who outsmarted mass killer Michael Myers in one installment after another. So, yeah, while John Carpenter brought nothing new to the table in regards of his slasher film idea, the thing that he did do that was different was he executed better than a lot of those other horror aficionados or people that were trying to make a quick buck off of doing horror movies did. Now, don't look now. I don't know if y'all seen this movie, but child, this movie freaked me the hell out when I saw it back in the day. It's definitely a good movie that y'all should check out with Donald Sutherland. So it's a Nicholas Rogue, splendidly creepy thriller. It's full of sinister portents and disturbing cuts, all driven by Rogue's visionary skill as a cinematic manipulator of time and memory. So Donald Sutherland was in it, and Julie Christie, who were considered deliriously sexy at the time, but seen now, they look more or less like they were playing a handsome but ordinary middle-class couple, since reeling in grief over the accidental death of their young daughter. And then there was this person that was running around that he kept thinking was his child, and then there's a twist. So I'm not gonna give it away if y'all want to see it, but yeah, definitely check that film out if you can. So they have Nosferatu, which I told y'all about. I watched that movie a couple of years ago, and I was like, this movie is boring, but I get it. It was a silent film. It was nothing like we had ever seen before. So this is why I'm looking forward to Robert Eggers' version of Nosferatu when it comes out at the end of the year. A Silence of the Lambs. Now, you know, this is a classic. But one thing I hate about Hollywood, or particularly the Academy, is that we all know this is a horror film. It's on a horror film list for best horror movies. It's at number 13. However, Hollywood uppity behind. This is what irritates me about the uppity people over in like the Oscars and the Grammys and stuff. They looked at it as, well, we don't like horror. We don't acknowledge horror to give them awards and things. So we got to call it a psychological thriller and all that other mess. So that's what they ended up doing. They call it a psychological. The fuck is a horror movie? I don't care what they say. So they say Hannibal Lecter is not the serial killer the feds are seeking in Jonathan Demme's top of its class psychological thriller. And yeah, that was because they were looking for Buffalo Bill, which someone made a comment about Buffalo Bill, and we already know that scene with him tucking his penis in between his legs while he was doing that stupid dance. Child, I cackled over that, but I definitely love that movie. And excuse me, Jodie Foster did the damn thing as Clarice Starling. So number 12, we have King Kong. Alien at number 11. Oh, I love this movie. I was just watching a thing of Quentin Tarantino breaking down Aliens and the reaction of people in the theater when they went to go see it. Alien's another movie that was before my time. But when I first got to see it, and I've seen it so many times, I definitely love the slow burning horror that is of Alien and the whole franchise. And it seems like we got the Alien franchise back up again, because I just heard that they're coming out with a sequel to Alien Romulus. So Fede Alvarez definitely got the, breathe some life back into the Alien franchise, because quiet as it's kept, the last time we only had 2 good Alien movies. So that's why I say to people, watch Alien, Aliens, and then Alien Romulus. Ignore Alien 3. Alien Resurrection was a mess. From Prometheus and all the other ones, I'm like, I don't even acknowledge those damn movies, even though they exist. But Alien is definitely like one of those amazing movies. So now let's get into number 10. Wait, did I forget number 11? Oh, no. Number 10. Throw me 11. So Carrie's another one. If y'all ever, I think that's also on one of the streaming services that I saw. I think it's on HBO Max. But this is like Stephen King's first ever novel. And I definitely love this film. First of all, I love the fact that, you know what, Sissy Spacek definitely did her damn thing as Carrie White and capturing the nuances of this shy little girl who had discovered that she had these superpowers, the power of telekinesis. I just heard that they're making a TV series based on Carrie. So I don't know what they plan on thinking they can do with the Carrie franchise to stretch it out beyond his book, because his book is not that long. But I'm definitely curious to see what they're going to do with the Carrie franchise. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing not seeing what they're going to do, because I already know what they're going to do. The movie came out in the 70s. I love this version of Carrie. They've tried to remake it and done it so many other times. Like they made the Rage Carrie 2. That movie was terrible. Then y'all came out with so many other remakes. It was a TV version, TV movie version. And then y'all had the one with Chloe Grace Moretz. Her name seems to be coming up a lot when it comes to remaking horror films. And that Carrie version, it was okay, but it was like, who's gonna believe this beautiful girl is being picked on? So it took me out a little bit, but overall, like nothing stands up to the classic with Sissy Spacek and John Travolta and all the rest of that cast. Piper Laurie as her crazy ass mother. So it says Salo of the 100 Days of Sodom. Ooh, y'all sodomizing people in this one? I'm joking. I don't know. I've never seen this film. I look like you about to cut this boy's tongue off. Probably because they are. Never heard that one. But they said that it was shot at a villa in Lake Garda where Mussolini spent his last 2 years. That dictator? Mm-mm. Now, Frankenstein. Of course, who hasn't seen this movie? This is a classic. Number 7, Audition, child. Now, speaking of body horror, now this is another one where it's just like, or torture porn, or whatever you want to call it, where how this lady did what she did. Like, she was lured under false pretenses by this man, not realizing that her ass was crazy. And the things that she does in that film. So if you've never seen Audition, another, Japanese horror movie, Takashi Miike, he does a lot of crazy movies. And so if you've never seen that film, definitely check out his stuff. I'm actually a fan of his movies. So we have Night of the Living Dead, which I was telling y'all about earlier. I said, this is the movie that my mother said scared the piss out of her. And while it does look like, I can see why it's black and white. The people literally look like they was dead, so you can get away with all of that other stuff. And then you had the scenes of them moving slow, and then they were sitting down, they were eating the legs, and eating the body parts, and all that other stuff. So yeah, I could definitely see like a movie that came out in the 60s that kind of gave this type of vibe will freak anybody out. And so we have number 5, Rosemary's Baby. Now I do like this movie. This is a long one. Wasn't didn't the director R-word somebody? But yeah, this is a good one. I mean, speaking of which, Roman Polanski, yeah, that's his name. And look, when you see the movie, y'all had Rosemary Woodhouse get R-worded by the devil. So yeah, there was that, but I was like, who hasn't seen that damn movie? But yeah, I heard that they had they had a remake or a prequel that was on Paramount Plus with oh my god, Julia, what's her name? Julia Garner. They had a version with her in the prequel, which I heard was terrible. So that's why I haven't watched it. Number 4, Jaws. But this is iconic. This is why I don't really mess with the beach. And then hearing all these stories lately about sharks coming up on the water and all that other stuff in places that you normally wouldn't find them at. So yeah, sharks freak me out. And it might be because of Jaws. Number 3, Psycho. Now, Psycho is an iconic film. One of the things I did not know is that Janet Leigh was nominated for Best Actress in this film. But Anthony Perkins was not nominated for Best Actor or Best Supporting Actor or whatever for Psycho in back in the day, which is crazy to me because I feel like Anthony Perkins delivered a far more compelling performance than she did. I mean, she was busy going around doing all the things that you should have been. Well, she was out here philandering, she was cheating. She stole that money from her job that she was supposed to take to the bank. And then she ends up at this hotel where she ends up getting unalived by a damn crazy person who channels and turns into his mother whenever he gets aroused, which, was taken from what the story has been is based off of Ed Gein, which he took a lot of that from. So yeah, so you had that, but I'm like, yeah, that's crazy to me because it was like I don't feel like Janet Leigh delivered enough of a performance that was Oscar worthy. But the different emotional beats that Anthony Perkins delivered in that role, especially the scene when you have the car that he's trying to sink into the water, or was it the swamp or whatever? And then he's like eating a snack while it's happening. And then all of a sudden it's like the car stops and then there's this look on his face like he's looking around like, it's like a sink, goddammit, sink. And then it's like we're all just like sitting there watching it, rooting for him to get away with this murder that was apparently done by his mother, until we get to the end of the movie where the twist is he was his mother the whole damn time. So whenever, he's backed into a corner, he turns into his mother. So now we have wait, what was that? Was that number 3? Because, sometimes I'll be talking, I'll be forgetting the numbers. Okay, so we got number 2, The Exorcist from 1973. We're finally at the end of the tunnel, which, is an iconic film. I definitely like this movie. I like William Friedkin. I even like, I like a lot of his movies. I even like Cruising. I know that movie divides a lot of people, but Cruising is like, yeah, that's a favorite film of mine because it's the whole leather scene and old New York and that sort of thing. But The Exorcist, I remember people still say it scares them. It's not that scary. It's got creepy moments. And Linda Blair did the damn thing. But when you hear all that behind the scenes stuff of like the injury she sustained making this movie and the torture that pretty much William put her through, I feel for her. But The Exorcist, yes, is an iconic film. And number 1, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. Well, I will say this. I think aren't we on its 50th anniversary? There's a 50th anniversary, I believe, version of it. I don't know if it's any kind of changes or what is it, high definition. I don't know what the difference is, but I did see that they have the 50th anniversary up on one of the streaming services. I believe it's Max or Netflix, one of those places. I can't remember, or Hulu. It could be one of those. I would have to do the research or remember where it is, because sometimes belong to so many streaming services, I can't remember where things are. But yeah, so Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the number 1 pick, which is great. And it is one of my favorite films that I like from back in the day. And it is one of those ones that's really creepy, especially when you got another one based off Ed Gein. Like so many movies were based off Ed Gein and of the crimes and all the stuff that he was doing. And you got this crazy person walking around wearing people's flesh, wielding a chainsaw. So I know that was a long one. We went around the world and yah with that one. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? In regards to the list, do you agree with where everything was placed in regards of like the 100 best horror movies of all time according to Variety? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. I was also hoping that I was going to keep y'all entertained with that whole list, but I'm gonna see what the people saying. He said, how about just scrolling and talk about the movies that catch your attention? And it's funny how I didn't even read that and I just did it because that was what I did. It was like, just scroll and then talk about the movies that catch my attention. That works. And it worked. It said, if you want to know how bad Simon is, just read the lyrics to Not a Pop Song. It was originally called Simon Says, but that was too on the nose. And you said, and I sent a Daily Dot article about how MAGA are mad at an ad saying that the wives don't need to tell their husband. They don't. That's why I said, it's like, you can sit up there and tell your husband, oh yeah, I'm going to vote for Trump. And then they go in there and vote for Kamala. You think these people are stupid? It's like these women that are being abused by their husbands are subservient. And it's like, I would be telling them, it's like, excuse me, you ain't supposed to be in there with her. You need to move it along. Onyx says, A Nightmare on Elm Street should be in top 30. At least that's a classic. Agreed. He said the Blob remake is really gory. I love that movie. I know it's like it was different because that was the 80s and the other one came out in the 50s. So yeah, they were really able to go there with the kills and stuff in that movie. I said screenshot of a thread. Besides horror films, I love to watch Practical Magic. That is a favorite with Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. People are waking up to Jill Stein saying she wasn't there in 2020 when it was 2 men, but 2016, a female is running just like today, and she's here. Even the person says she even lost her local elections. She's that unlikable to a point. Why can't she take the hint? If your state hates you, you got look, tell that to Miguel and Lady Bunny, because they seem to be windmilling hard for Jill Stein. Is she? Because I remember I wrote that part and about her being a plant, and The people got mad at me for saying what I said, but I'm like, don't be mad at me. Don't hate the play, hate the game. And they said they could they could not have a black man kill him. Exactly. That's why I said what I said about Candyman. I was like, they was not going to have no black man up in there killing them white people because I'm like, that was the whole premise. Like he was a freed slave who got with this white woman, and them racists killed him, and now he's not gonna kill them off. Kill the white people that take revenge on them. The Baby, 1973, also eaten alive. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre team answered the Jaws, starring a young Robert Englund. Famous line, "My name is Buck and I'm ready to fuck." There was a movie that I saw that used that same line. I cannot remember the name of that. "My name is Bucks and I'm oh, that's what it was. It was Kill Bill. That's where I heard that line from. I was like, where I heard that line from? But man, there was a couple of movies that was up there that should have been a part of that list. I said The Phone Call at Johnson's Liquor Store. What happened to Baby Jane? Okay, then. Okay, Cindy is at MSG and it's your night off. Hopefully, yeah. I know Cindy Lauper is at Madison Square Garden right now, and also tomorrow I'm working the Duran Duran show, so it's a Halloween show. Freaks is probably my favorite movie ever, and yes, American Horror Story did Freak Show and basically copied the whole plot. Absolutely, just like in 1984, they stole Friday the 13th's whole premise. Freaks is a talkie, gobble gobble. We accept you. Goobla goobla, blah 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 blah. It's crazy how Drew Barrymore had 5 minutes in Scream and somehow made a career out of it. Okay, not reading the Blair Witch Project. Blair Witch Project gave me said, yeah, because you want to know something, and I think it's not just Blair Witch Project. Maybe I should have elaborated more. I can't stand found footage movies. I don't like found footage movies. I don't like the idea of just everything got to be filmed and then it's just shaking the camera and all other mess. I hated even shaky camera when they do fight choreography in movies like The Bourne Identity. If you want to show me some stuff, show me some stuff. That's why I like John Wick and all that stuff, because the way they shoot the action, I want to be able to see everything that's going on. I don't like all that shake the camera mess. Oh, you said Carrie is that girl. She rightfully deserves that top 10 spot. I said, Chris, you need to get into Salo. Described as one of the most disturbing. Yeah, I was saying, I never saw that. It said, described as one of the most disturbing films of all time. It's crazy. It will genuinely scare you and make you itch. So, yeah. But I guess they'll probably say, well, horror movies are subjective. So that's why I wouldn't be up in them. Brown Bunny says, yes, Roman Polanski is wanted. That's why he won't leave France. I thought it was in Italy. Or whatever. They said France, the PDF file haven second only to it. Not Israel. As you said, Sailor was so controversial that the director got. Really? I didn't even know that. Because of that movie? He said Salo got that tea. Child, you're gonna make me want to watch that movie now. Anthony Perkins absolutely ate. Yes, he did. He said Chris really knows horror. That's why I was like, this is why I did this list, because it's like I am a horror movie fanatic. Like if there's many genres movies, like I watch action movies, not really big on the comedy, depending on what it is. Like if it's scary movie, that's because it teeters in horror, I'll watch it. And there's other comedy things that I watch, but for the most part, horror is usually the genre that I watch the most. And then hearing all the different classics and other films like hidden gems and things. That's why I'm like, I'm a subscriber of Shudder. I also have Screambox, which I've been going back and forth with getting rid of because I don't really watch it. And to me, I feel like a lot of their movies up there are trash. So I was just like, Okay, so you said, yes, Anthony Perkins' mother. And his son is an actor, is a director, Oz Perkins. He did Longlegs, and he has another movie that's coming out. Friday the 13th and The Exorcist are only two classics left. Yes, and that always seems like those are the movies that they go into with Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw, Exorcist, Rosemary's Baby. It's always like the same typical ones on the top. Texas Chainsaw. Mine too. Although I know like a lot of people don't like particularly like Cruising because of the controversy that was behind it, where it was just like, the gay community was just tired of being treated as like passive or were serial killers. And I get all of that. But I guess that was of a time of, and I guess I had no ties to it because I was too young when a lot of those films, or wasn't even born. Because when did Cruising come out? Like 1970, like in the mid 70s? Like I wasn't even alive. I wasn't even a thought. So, I just feel like with a lot of those, I guess because I have no immediate ties to that, so I don't feel no ways about it. But when I watch it, I think I like it because the leather scene is sort of that relatability with the gays and leather, and seeing like the old like 70s New York. So I kind of like that. It's like The Warriors. That's another favorite of mine too, because of that whole vibe of like old New York. I said that should be number one. What? No, they didn't mention Friday the 13th, which was surprising. I guess because they were talking about how like Roger Ebert and them would always go in and talk about that Friday the 13th was a ripoff, blah blah blah. So they put in Halloween. That's like one of those pretentious lists. Like you know what? Maybe I should have went to like a Bloody Disgusting, and their list probably would have been way better. Because when you do Variety and stuff, or Deadline, or any of the trades, they're gonna go pretentious with the horror movies. They'll look for the hidden gems, but they'll also try to prop up the creme de la creme of horror movies. So if they're gonna do slasher, they're not gonna pick Friday the 13th. They're gonna pick Halloween. You said I don't think that's. So it wasn't on the list, but they picked Hostel 2. But it's weird. They picked Hostel 2 over the first one. Was it because it was women in peril? But to me, I actually I like both Hostels, but they only put the second one. Criminal Activity wasn't on the list either. Well, that's probably because they had the Blair Witch Project, and because the Blair Witch Project is the mother of found footage movies, they're gonna pick that one over Paranormal Activity. But if they did a list of best found footage movies, I guess that's where they would have went with it. So I don't remember seeing The Conjuring. It wasn't. We're not gonna put all that one in. That's why I said like horror movies are subjective. I'm like, damn, should we do the last one? Because I do got one more. I have like my picks of top 10 movies adapted from Stephen King novels. So I guess we'll go into that because that's my last one, and then we're done with today's show. So this list I was supposed to do a while ago, around the time when Salem's Lot came out, but I was like, you know what? I'll save it for Halloween. So, I'm probably going to scroll all the way down. So basically, since we're coming to, the whole thing about jack-o'-lantern, pumpkin spice lattes, and scary movies and all that other stuff is coming to an end, and we're officially in spooky season, I decided to come up with this list. And the reason why I decided to come up with this list is because, I just watched the Straight to Max remake of Salem's Lot. Now, as for that film, I thought they could have beefed up the Ben Mears role more since Lewis Pullman is technically playing the lead. In fact, I feel in regards to character development, it definitely felt like it was, a lot was cut from the film. Now, the actor that played Mark, I thought did a phenomenal job. Alfre Woodard was definitely hammering it up as the doctor. I also loved some of the camera tricks and transitions the director incorporated in the film. Now, while the lead vampire was clearly inspired by Nosferatu, I did think the makeup looked a bit like a Spirit Halloween mask. And the funny, because I bought this costume from Spirit Halloween. Now, speaking of vampires, I would have liked the town to have slowly discovered what was happening. Now, as for scenes made, that basically, during the scenes when they were discovering the vampirism, I did feel like a lot of those scenes were moving relatively quickly. I'm like, well, how would they have come to that revelation so fast? Like, it just didn't make any sense, especially when they just moved that vampire type character into town. So, in my opinion, I do feel like when it comes to certain Stephen King adaptations, there are some that work better as like a one movie type situation, and then there are some that either work as a mini series or a two-parter, like It Chapter 1 and 2. If they would have did something like that with Salem's Lot, which there's a lot of descriptiveness in the book and a lot of character development, if they would have split that into two parts, I feel like it would have worked. And since y'all was going to shove it on Max anyway, you could have had it like the 1 week you'll see the first part, and then the next week you see the second part. So with that being said, I did come up with a list. But we'll have to scroll down for now. You're going to have my honorable mentions before we get to the top 10. And please hold as I get to them. So the first one we have, oh wait, I think it closed out on me. Oh no, it didn't. So our first honorable mention is Stephen King's Sleepwalkers, which I definitely like this movie. Now, Stephen King's Sleepwalkers is one bonkers film. I wish I could have included it as part of my top 10 selections, but unfortunately, we have to settle for an honorable mention. Now, Brian Krause is great as one of the supernatural creatures smitten by Machen Amix. I don't know how you say her name. I think it's Machen or Madchen Amix Virgin Tanya, and Alex Cridge basically chewed up the damn scenery in her role as Mary Brady, Charlie's incestuous mother. We also can't leave out two big stars of the film, which is basically Enya's Boadicea song. I hope I said that right, but I love that damn song. First of all, it was sampled in Ready or Not by the Fugees. And we can't forget about Clovis the Cat. So basically, for those of you who've never seen the movie, it's basically about when newcomers Charles and his mother Mary settle into town, the local residents do not suspect that they're shapeshifters looking to feed on the town's virgin girls. Now, Charles quickly befriends innocent and chaste Tanya when he begins attending high school. Now, hoping to take her life force in order to feed his mother, when Tanya agrees to a first date with Charles, she may learn his true intentions the hard way. So, in so many ways, it was a bad movie, but it's like good bad, if that makes sense. It's like funny in certain parts. Like I love the part when she stabs him with the corn on the cob. There's a lot of funny moments in that movie. So, in my opinion, I do feel like Stephen King's Sleepwalkers is definitely one of those films that's like a guilty pleasure. Now, the next one that we're going to go into is Stand By Me. Now, I know it's not a horror movie and all of the stuff, but it is based off of a Stephen King novel. And of course, that iconic line is a loony up in Tokus. So while, like I said, it's not a horror film per se, another one of my favorite Stephen King films that I revisit quite often is Stand By Me. Growing up as a child of the 80s, excuse me, I have always loved movies where we see young boys go on quests and end up having some sort of life discovery. So for those who are not familiar with the film, it's like after learning that a stranger has been accidentally killed near their rural homes, 4 Oregon boys decide to go see a body. Now, on their way, Gordy, played by Will Wheaton, Vern, played by Jerry O'Connell, Chris, played by River Phoenix, the late River Phoenix, and Teddy, played by Corey Feldman, encounter a mean junk man who came up with that damn line is a loony up in Tokus, talking about Teddy's father. And a marsh full of leeches. That leeches scene was iconic, especially like when it ended up in Will Wheaton's drawers and he had to pass out from the leech getting on his pee. As they learn more about one another in their very different home lives. So just seeing kids go on adventures and things of that nature, that's always been like a favorite of mine that I have. I always like watching those movies growing up as a kid. So then our next one we're going to go into is Firestarter with Drew Barrymore, a young Drew Barrymore, by the way. So David Keith, who plays Andy, and his future wife, Vicky, played by Heather Locklear, participated in a secret experiments, I should say, allowing themselves to be subjected to mysterious medical tests. Now, years later, the couple's daughter, Charlie, begins to exhibit the ability to set fires solely with her mind. And so the fact that she has pyrokinesis and all other stuff, and then the father basically tries to take her and they try to run away and all this other stuff, and then the company is basically trying to use them as a weapon and that sort of thing. The movie's not perfect, but it is good for what it is. And we try not to acknowledge the one that was done with Zac Efron. So that's another one that is a guilty pleasure of mine. Now, the next one we have, and as an honorable mention, is The Dead Zone, which basically features David Cronenberg as the director, and Christopher Walken plays the lead, Johnny Smith. And so basically when he awakens from a coma, he was, what happened after a car accident, he finds out years have passed. His girlfriend, I can't remember who she was, his girlfriend, his wife, or whatever the case is, but she had moved on, and he discovered that he has psychic abilities. Oh, basically it was his girlfriend. It says it in the thing. So then, he basically stops certain things, like he helps track down a serial killer. Then there's a situation where there's this aspiring politician played by Martin Sheen, where he basically is trying to get, I guess, destroy the world or whatever the case is. Sounds familiar. That was, basically the plot of the movie. So if you haven't seen this film, definitely check it out. Now, another favorite of mine would be Silver Bullet with the late Corey Haim. And I do like werewolf movies. I don't feel like they make enough werewolf films, but this is a favorite of mine. And I just watched another one this month because I was like, I've probably seen this movie so many damn times. And you basically have Corey Haim playing a cripple who there's a werewolf on the loose. Somebody going around killing the people in the town. And he's trying to figure out who it is. But then when he discovers it, the werewolf is trying to kill him. And anybody gets in his way. So I also love how the film disregards the rule that kids are off limits in horror films because, we have movies where people always feel like, oh, you can't kill kids because they apparently decided to take that stance with Terrifier. Y'all had a whole issue with Terrifier 3 killing off kids. And I'm sitting there like, you know how many children have died in movies over the years, but this is the one y'all get mad at? Okay, so now let's get into our top 10. So our number 10 comes Children of the Corn. Now, child, when you see Malachi, this is a cackle because there was this boy that I was telling you about when we were talking about the Trump rally, and there was a volunteer for the campaign in the audience in my section. So whenever there were certain things, he would like jump up and start making like trying to get the audience amped up and whatever. And I guess they was exhausted by that time. They was just like, okay, whatever, child. Like they just let him go off. But I was like, he reminded me so much of Malachi from Children of the Corn. And here we got Malachi on the right trying to cut up Linda Hamilton in the movie. So basically, the movie is about a physician played by Peter Horton, and his girlfriend, played by Linda Hamilton, who drive across the Midwest to his new job. But then their trip comes to a halt when they're driving down the street or driving on the road, and they accidentally hit one of the kids that was trying to escape the corn. And so while they drive into town, that's when they discover all the craziness that's going on in this small town, which is populated by children, because they basically went off and killed all the adults. And then you have this crazy preacher by the name of Isaac, and then you got his partner in crime, his second in command, Malachi, who you see in the picture. So yeah, that was like that was one of the favorites of mine. Now the next one, number 9, we're gonna go with Cujo, which I didn't even know because I didn't read the book, even though I have the book, but I just never got around to reading it. And I bought the book when I was a kid. So I didn't even know that Danny Pintaro, the little boy that was in the book, dies. But in the movie, he doesn't die. And you had Dee Wallace, who was always like that, played the women in peril roles. But this made me not look at St. Bernard as the same. But look, he got bit by a bat on the nose, and he went crazy because he had the rabies. So it was just basically, the St. Bernard going around killing people. And that's funny, I say Cujo, but it's actually pronounced Cujo. So Dee Wallace definitely did her thing. Danny Pintaro definitely did what he needed to be done as a child actor. I know some people have feeler ways about it, but it is a favorite of mine, and that's where I placed it. So let's move on. And number 8 is Pet Cemetery. Speaking about kids in peril and kids killing and kids getting killed, this is another one. First of all, this little boy in the movie, he died twice. Miko Hughes. He died not once, but twice. He got hit by a truck. And then the father had to kill him at the end. Gage. So Dr. Lewis Creed, first of all, I used to have the biggest crush on Dale Midkiff when I was younger. I was like, ooh, is this finest man? There was a show that he used to come, that I remember seeing him on when I was younger. It was like one of those syndicated shows. I think it was on Channel 9 or whatever the case was. I cannot remember the name of it. But I remember that's where I first saw him at. And then there was this iconic movie. So basically, it's about a doctor who moves his family to Maine, where he meets a friendly local named Judd, played by Fred Gwynn. Now, after the Creed's cat is accidentally killed, Crandall advises Lewis to bury it in the ground near the old pet cemetery. The cat returns to life, its personality changed for the worse. That when Lewis's son, Gage, dies, as in getting hit by a truck, He decides to bury the boy's body in the same ground despite the warnings of Crandall and Lewis's visions of a deceased patient. So, and I forget, Mary Lambert is who directed that. You know, she directed a lot of music videos, like Madonna's music videos, a bunch of music videos back in the day. That was a movie that she ended up directing, and I thought that was good. Also, you had the chick from Star Trek: The Next Generation up in there playing the mother, Tasha Yar. I can't remember her name. I know her last name is Crosby. I can't remember her first name, but I just know her as Tasha Yar from Star Trek: The Next Generation. She played the mother. Okay, so now number 7, Misery. First of all, this scene, I don't know why I picked it. I know why I picked this picture because I'm a glutton for torture. This scene, I cannot stand watching this scene when she put the wood between his feet and broke his damn feet so that way he couldn't run away. Hey, that scene. First of all, James Caan got some nice feet, some nice manly feet. But in regards to this, I was like, this movie still freaks me out. And I thought Kathy Bates did a phenomenal job in this role. Did she ever? I'm trying to remember. Did she win an Oscar for that part? I may have to look that up. So so elevated by standout performances from James Caan and Kathy Bates. Oh yeah, she did win an Oscar. This taut and frightening film is one of the best Stephen King adaptations to date. Now, after a serious car crash, novelist Paul Sheldon, played by Caan, is rescued by former nurse Annie Wilkes, played by Bates, who claims to be his biggest fan. Annie brings him to her remote cabin to recover, where her obsession takes a dark turn when she discovers Sheldon is killing off her favorite character from his novels. Now, as Sheldon devises plans for escape, Annie grows increasingly controlling, even violent, as she forces the author to shape his writing to suit her twisted fantasies. And that's what I loved about the film, is the fact that how he twisted, like, change up the script and tell her, okay, this is what we're about to do, mind you. And then the part where he burns it and then shoves it in her mouth, I was like, bitch, that scene was everything. But there was a lot of iconic moments in this movie. So yeah, Misery is like another one of my favorites. I just hate that scene when she breaks his feet. I always have to like turn my head. Even though I know the feet is not real, but who wants to see somebody's feet getting smashed by a damn sledgehammer? Now let's get to number 6, which I know divides a lot of people, but I live for it. The Mist, especially this scene. I know this scene gets people every damn time because it was like a moment of like faith and believing and all the other stuff. And how you had Carol for The Walking Dead, who was like, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to find my kids. And how she was the one that ended up surviving in the end because she had that will to find her children. But then when they got in this truck, because they had that crazy ass Christian woman, Marsha Gay Harden, who did the damn thing in that damn role. And this was Frank Darabont, which makes me totally get, was like, yeah, there's a lot of Walking Dead isms, even though this is before The Walking Dead. But there's a lot of Walking Dead, a lot of the stuff that he had in The Mist and things of that nature, like trickled into Walking Dead territory. So yeah, this is definitely, The Mist is one of my all-time favorite Stephen King adaptations because, you know, I am a fan of Frank Darabont. And, you know, he also did The Green Mile. And it also goes into that premise, which is similar to The Mist, into The Walking Dead, where it's just like, sometimes the people you are surrounded by when scared could be just as worse than the monsters you're trying to protect yourself from. So, and of course, that ending always gets me. I know a lot of people just don't like the ending. They want a happy ending, but I'm like, sometimes things don't work out the way you want it. And it's just like, if he would have just waited one more minute, they wouldn't have had to unalive themselves with the gun. And then he's trying to unalive himself, and then there's no bullet left. So now he's sitting there crying and regretting what he did. So I definitely like that scene. And I love the movie. And I love the practical effects that they use with the movie. Okay, so now number 5, let's get to Christine. Now, I definitely like this movie. You know that this is also kind of like the idea of where, what the hell's his name? David Gordon Green got the inspiration for Halloween Ends, the one that nobody likes, for Corey Cunningham. Where it's just like every time that Michael would, or Corey or Michael would kill, whatever, it would rejuvenate his power or whatever, because he was weak for a long period of time, especially after the town done fucked his ass up in Halloween Kills. So, you know, they always say never come between a man and his car. Now, what I do like about this film, directed by one of my favorite directors, John Carpenter, is that the They tell the story between a boy and his car. Now, even though we should be rooting for a killer car, I definitely enjoy Christine taking revenge on the bullies that picked on Arnie Cunningham and at one point destroyed Christine until she magically put herself back together again. So I definitely like that effect and stuff in there as well. And like I said before, Christine is such an inspiration to many, a filmmaker, especially David Gordon Green, even using the film as inspiration for his relationship between Corey Cunningham and Michael Myers in Halloween Ends. Now, my number 4 choice, because we're almost there, It Chapter 1. Now, this might be an unpopular opinion, but even though I grew up in the Tim Curry miniseries from the 90s, I actually prefer Andy Muschietti's 2-part cinematic version than the watered down miniseries. And I feel like maybe because the miniseries, if you watch it, it's definitely aged quite a bit. Now, don't get me wrong, Tim Curry did the damn thing as Pennywise the Clown. He still eats in regards to that performance. But I definitely love what Bill Skarsgård did as playing him even more dark, twisted, and sadistic. And I'm actually looking forward to Welcome to Derry, when that comes out in 2025, and that whole vibe of that film with it taking on the whole It franchise. So I'm really excited to see what they say with that. Now, if you notice, I said It Chapter 1 and not It Chapter 2, but I think it's because It Chapter 1, like It Part 1 in the original, the first half always does it for me, but once they get older and they become adults, I feel like it falls apart for me in both films. So I don't really care that much for them when they're older. I just love that whole dynamic when they were kids. And that was another movie where, there's another movie, that they killed kids in. Stephen King was just killing everybody and his stuff. So look, we talked about 3 Stephen King films that featured kids getting killed. Now, my number 3 choice is going to be you. It's funny enough. We did talk about Carrie. Do I need to talk about that again? So, I love Carrie. It's definitely a classic horror film that resonates with so many queer people. The whole shy girl with telekinetic powers who takes out her bullies at her school prom. It's like a lot of us can relate to that. Like, I'm sure there's been a lot of times when, if you've been picked on in school, you've been bullied or whatever the case is, a lot of us wish if I had superpowers, I would just do damage and beat you up or do whatever. Like, if I had the ability. So, we could definitely resonate in that sort of way. So even though I did my whole Carrie, dissertation or citation earlier, I'm not going to do it again. So y'all already know I love this damn movie. And I'm looking forward to seeing, as I said before, the series when that comes on television. Now, my number 2 choice, Dr. Sleep. I definitely love this film. Now, everybody talks about The Shining and everything, and there's always some things like when you have the original movie and then the sequel. A lot of times the sequel doesn't exceed expectations of the original, but I definitely love this movie, especially Rebecca Ferguson. She played what is it? She called the Lady in the Hat or whatever. I forget what her name was in the film, but she definitely did her thing. So I love this film. The acting was superb, especially from Ewan McGregor, Kylie Curran, Rebecca Ferguson, and even when the movie was over, it definitely just stuck with me after the credits were rolling. I love the fact that we got to dive into Danny Torrance's adult years and also how he did inherit his father's alcoholism. Because we already know, like, Jack Torrance had his issues with alcoholism. And then, of course, with him being, the traumas and having the Shining and all that other stuff and dealing with that situation, him using the liquor to suppress it, we had all of that. And then also that's iconic scene with the True Knot and how they would suck the shine from the kids, especially Jacob Tremblay, who played, I believe he played Bradley Trevor, I forget what his name was, but Jacob Tremblay, he played the hell out of that part. And she was like, "Are you gonna hurt me?" And she was like, "Yes." So it was like they was not playing, and that's why I love Mike Flanagan. He's another one who's a favorite director of mine. Mike Flanagan definitely be doing the damn thing in regards to his body of work, and this is another film where he's definitely turned out. That's why I'm really looking forward to what he's going to bring to The Exorcist, because y'all know he was supposed to do The Exorcist with David Gordon Green, but because y'all hated that movie he did, now they got Mike Flanagan coming in and doing it. So I like Mike Flanagan whenever he takes on horror and the way that he really develops characters and makes you feel so uncomfortable in when you're set in those situations. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen this movie, but the only one I watch of Dr. Sleep is the unrated version, like the extended version, the 3-hour director's cut. That's the only one I watch. I don't watch the original one because I feel like they could really dive deep into it. And even though I know Stephen King does not like the elements of the Kubrick stuff the Kubrickisms that he put in it. What I love is that Mike Flanagan honors the book, but also ties in the Stanley Kubrick isms to make it work for those things, because not everybody reads books. People will only go based off of what they've seen in the movie. So for cinematic sake, gotta check all the boxes. You gotta weave it all in some sort of way. So he definitely did a good job with that film. And so now if we have Dr. Sleep as number 2, then of course number 1 has to be The Shining. So I feel like I gave my thoughts on that already. But even though Stanley Kubrick's version of The Shining isn't a favorite of King's because it deviates from what's on the page, you can't deny that the director's moody, atmospheric art piece takes on King's novel, that it still has a hold on audiences 44 years later. Now, Jack Torrance, played by Jack Nicholson, becomes winter caretaker of the isolated Overlook Hotel in Colorado, hoping to cure his writer's block. Now, he settles in along with his wife, Wendy, played by Shelley Duvall, and his son, Danny, played by Danny Lloyd, who is plagued by psychic premonitions. Now, if Jack writing goes nowhere, because all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, and Danny's visions become more disturbing, Jack discovers the hotel's dark secrets begins to unravel into a homicidal maniac hell-bent on terrorizing his family. So I definitely love that movie. I'm still mad that they had that black man get killed off with the axe, because I heard he didn't even die in the book. But you killed him off in the movie? Kubrick, you a racist? I'm just asking. I'm not making conclusion. I'm not trying to make accusation. I'm just asking. But yeah. So that is all with our list. That was my top 10 with my honorable mentions. And I have to say, what do y'all think of this list in regards of my top 10 movies adapted from Stephen King novels? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Now, speaking of comments, Jeepers Creepers. Oh yeah, I do love that. I do love Jeepers Creepers. That should have been a movie that was added on the list too, but who knows? Maybe they didn't add on there because Victor Sal was a child molester. But then again, Roman Polanski's a rapist, so I hope we're not going to be splitting hairs when it comes to who we include and who we don't include. He said, love that movie. Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those peepers? I do love that movie, especially Justin Long. I like Justin Long. I like the fact that he's having well, I don't know. Is it a resurgence? He's definitely been doing some stuff. Like he has a short film in VHS, the new one that's on Shudder. Where it's about the dog. It's hard to explain. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like about dogs or whatever. And it was just these animal activists go undercover and they go to this dog place and some crazy shit happens. I was like, this is the craziest damn movie I've seen. But yeah, so it was like, oh, and Sleepwalkers love that movie. Me too. It is a guilty pleasure, but such is life. So I say all this to say, we are at the end of today's show. Thank you all for tuning in and staying with me throughout this mess of a show, with the celebrity news and gossip, because I was like, I need to balance it all out. The celebrity news and gossip, and then to wrap it all up, we'll do the Halloween countdown of movies and stuff. So for those of you who actually will be watching this later, definitely I want to hear what y'all thought in regards to like all the topics. If you haven't already, please hit that like button and that subscribe button. Also, be sure to smash that notification button so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I will be wearing this costume again tomorrow because I'll be going out after work. So, thank you all for watching. Love you, love you, love it. And then Oh, we have a comment. Says Stephen King said in an interview, children and old people are not off limits. He doesn't mind having an elevator squash a grandma. But yeah, I agree with that. Like, I feel like who died and said that certain groups should be off limits? Like, kids die every day, old people die every day, people in between die every day. So why can't we explore those things in films? And I feel like the trick of getting around kids being killed, I guess in certain situations you don't show it, but they showed it in It Chapter 1. And where was the outrage then when Pennywise went and ate that boy arm, took a big old chunk, and then dragged him down into the sewer? I felt bad for when he got dragged down. That definitely was an unsettling scene, but shit happens, and I feel like people need to just relax. So, um, like I said before, thank you all for watching. I will see you. I'll probably try to do a show on Friday or whatever. So until next time, because that'll be when I be getting my new ring light and things of that nature. So until next time, ciao, darlings, and happy Halloween.